So I'll count it off.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Just let's go.
1, 2, 3, go!
1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the rehearsal room. Nick here.
Aaron's here.
Welcome to the new year, Aaron.
Yes, Happy New Year to all of
Happy
our
New
listeners
Year.
and yourself too.
This is our first episode of the new year. We are in front of a audience at this point. Here at Rehearsal Room Studios, welcoming in 2026 with a bang.
I hope so. Otherwise, there might be one at the end of 2026, but it'll be a gun to my head.
Oh, yeah. I mean, same. We're going to, I think, I don't think we've done one of these, right? Like
No, not one on a full artist. Absolutely not. We've done some album ones, but this will be fun.
Yeah, this is going to be, we're going to go down a bit of a rabbit hole here on a person that both Aaron and myself are big fans of.
Huge, yeah.
I knew when I met Aaron, we kind of did the little litmus of, hey, are you into this? And he was.
I did see the skull on the old Chevy truck of yours. And
yes, Danzig.
I
my
did
truck,
say to myself,
Danzig, yeah.
I will find that man. Oh, yes, I will find that man.
And
It's like,
is
oh,
here.
he happens to be fronting one of my favorite bands.
He
He will be mine. Oh, yes, he will be mine.
Yeah, we're going to talk about one Glenn Allen Anzalone, or Anzalone,
Yes.
depending on who you ask.
Calzone.
Calzone, yeah. That's the whole, yeah. Otherwise known to the world as Glenn Danzig.
With two N's, remember that.
Two N's. G-L-E-N-N.
Get it right, goddammit.
Yeah. The one N is Glenn Benton.
Yes.
One
the other evil dude of metal.
The evil guy. Yeah, the evil guy. But that one's one N and one upside down cross
Yes.
on his forehead. Yeah. And a kid, apparently.
Yeah.
So do you want to... We actually didn't really lay this one out, right?
I know. We just wanted to kind of go over because we were going to mention, go through his career to set up. One of the things we wanted to do was go through a lot of his great albums with friends of ours that also love a lot of his great albums.
Yeah.
And just really get in depth, again, as an artist that you and I mutually enjoy. One that we definitely was... I think through talking with you, we both know was hugely influential in our early years of love of metal and so on and so forth. So it's just one of those connections that you and I had. And then it is a connection in general with a lot of really great friends that we have that, may have been the start of our friendship, but not the culmination either.
Yeah.
But
so
I always thought that was kind of neat,
Let's do this first.
Please.
How about we go into how we discovered his music, and then we'll get into the man himself.
Yeah.
So you go ahead first.
For me, it was, again, junior high, going into high school is really where metal became a thing. I think I mentioned before my origin story was, No Risk for the Wicked. I played that, turned my whole world around. So it was a matter of just going, okay, well, what else is out there? And out here we had KNAC, so it was a great radio station. I have to think it must have been How the Gods Kill that came out around that same time. And I just remember it being like, what is this? This is, number one, growing up, my mother, huge Elvis fan, absolutely loved Elvis. I didn't necessarily follow him and so on and so forth, but my middle name, or his middle name, is also my first name, which they say has nothing to do with it, but whatever. Take that to the grave whether you feel like to, Mom. But big Elvis fan. So Elvis was always kind of omnipresent in our house in general. So here was this guy who sounded like him, and then when you looked at him, holy shit, you know what I mean? He looks like him, and just very dark, very foreboding, but also like watching a superhero when you see him, you know what I mean? He's just, well, we find out later, not all that big, but big muscular guy, you know what I mean? Standing on stage with a presence about him that was really kind of this, I don't give a fuck, and you're not going to tell me what to do. And I just, that's a very appealing for me when I was that age, and the music especially, very easy to get into, especially Danzig stuff. You know what I mean? It was essentially, heavy metal, hard rock kind of thing going on. Amazing vocals that I absolutely loved. I could sing along too, not as well as, but you know what I mean? So that, that very early on of metal, it just was right there with everything else I was listening to as far as I was concerned, with Metallica and Slayer and so forth. So it was just like one of the things, but definitely what drew me in was the darkness of it all. You know, I went to a Christian junior high, going into a Christian high school. So those things were not appealing to me in any way, shape,
Taboo.
or form. Well, yes, they were definitely frowned upon. Danzig, I mean, the guy wore this upside down cross. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the things he said. You know, snakes of Christ. Like, oh my God, how the gods kill gods? There's only one. You know, so it was that sort of thing. Like, it was very sexy and tantalizing. It made me go like, I want more of this. You know what I mean? And then just the power of the music, it's just the, you know, especially like I said, early days of listening to heavy metal and hard rock is like, well, this is everything you would want right here. Bluesy guitar, heavy, dark, great voice. I can sing with it, so on and so forth. So it was a very easy entry for me, and just for me, it stuck immediately. And you got there were some friends that kind of gave me a little bit of shit because, you know, he does have this kind of persona that's a little over the top. You know what I mean? And for some friends was a little. Yeah, when I played him the Danzig video where he's doing his book collection, you know, I got you know, friends like, what the fuck, dude? You know, what are you watching, bro? Like, yeah, isn't this cool? I'm like, no, this is scary. It is, you know. So yeah, that was
Danzig then that you got into first.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, I cannot even pretend for 1 second. I mean, Danzig was immediate. That was the first. Then it went Misfits. Then Samhain.
Okay.
Yeah, because Misfits came through a mutual friend who was a punk guy.
Hmm.
He was way more into punk, and he was like, well, dude, how do you not know this band? And I'm like, what do you mean? And it was like, you know, and then culminating with that, of course, Metallica, finding out they did Misfits covers.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's probably how I found Danzig too, to some degree, was Metallica being such big fans of Danzig.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like we've always talked about, you open an album and you say, well, what are these bands that they thank? Who are the bands they toured with? Well, then that's the bands I want to go look for.
Right.
So you see them with a shirt and you go, well, who the fuck is Danzig? Oh, let me go check him out.
Yeah.
You know, and things in that way, thanks to KNAC, he did have music videos. So that helped. Headbangers Ball made that stuff a little more accessible. But yeah, for me, it was definitely Danzig first, then the Misfits. And then it was just like, I need to collect everything I could possibly find from this man from there on. And then, so with Samhain being, or Samhain, if we
you want to be that one guy that gave me shit on Facebook that one time.
But yeah, that's where where I certainly came in. But
nice.
Yeah, how about yourself?
I started in junior high. I had, you know, what I thought was a girlfriend.
Right.
She wasn't. But she did introduce me to a lot of music.
Right on.
At one point, I remember going to our lockers, and she had a bunch of pictures just like taped up inside the locker.
As one did, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I never did because I forgot my locker combination, so I never used my locker.
I got you.
But she did, and she had a bunch of pictures of just random people up and down the whole fucking thing. And I remember looking at one, and I saw, you know, this dude with a greasy clump of hair in his face.
Right on.
And I'm like, who the hell's that?
Right.
And I got the entire, like, you don't know who this is, you know?
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, man, I'm like 13 years old. What do you want me to do? You know? So she...
Gotta start somewhere.
Exactly. And she made me a little cassette tape. On one side, it had Black Flag's My War album.
Wow.
Which, fucking great.
Right.
I had already loved Black Flag.
Right on.
I just wasn't aware that they had made that album.
I gotcha.
Right? And side A was what, you know, became known as Collections 1.
Ooh. Yes.
Right. So I asked her, like, why does he look like that, and why doesn't this version of punk sound like Black Flag's?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Right. And she was, and like, she didn't know either, but she said, like, yeah, that's his band, the Misfits.
Right on.
And if you like this album, I'll get you some more of their music.
Right on. So
I went home, played the shit out of that little tape.
I can imagine.
And I just became completely enamored with the Misfits. Right.
Yeah.
I was already into horror movies, so that was a plus.
Yeah, he was speaking your language.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, dude, everything that this is it's loud, it's sing-alongy, it's fucking horror shit, and they dress up. They're theatrical.
Oh, absolutely.
They're theatrical. Yeah, I loved it. And then in high school, once I met, you know, one of my lifelong hetero life partners that I've referenced before, Martin, when I met him, he was wearing a Danzig 3 shirt.
Okay.
So and no, actually, I didn't meet him in high school. I met him at the end of junior high.
Okay.
He was wearing a Danzig 3 shirt.
That is the Geiger, the Master Margarita.
Yeah, the Master and the Margarita. But long sleeve with the daggers on the sleeve.
Dude.
So like, but these are like, again, the original.
Yeah.
Out, right?
Oh yeah.
And he saw me wearing a Crimson Ghost shirt.
Nice.
And he's like, "Oh, you're a Danzig fan." And I'm like, "If that's the singer, yes." I'm like, "Why?" And so he's like, "Oh, well, if you've checked out that band,
Right.
you're gonna like Danzig,
Sure.
because it's the same dude." And I couldn't believe it because he was showing me pictures of Dan, what he had become at that point, right? And I'm like, "Holy shit, this guy got buff."
Yeah, somebody's got a weight set.
Yeah, exactly, right. And he only does the upper chest.
He's
skipping leg day. Yeah. So he and I actually, he got tickets for the Halloween show at Irvine Meadows.
Oh yes, the infamous
show that would become the live part of Thrall Demon Sweat Live.
Yes, sir.
Because of these two people, I found out that he also had a third band called Samhain between the Misfits and Danzig that I would also come to love, maybe the most out of his projects. But yeah, like I loved him for the same thing because his voice was great.
Yeah,
it was able to be heard in a way that it was like you could understand it.
Yeah.
First of all, right?
For sure. Yeah.
It wasn't the yelly punk that I was kind of drawn to.
I gotcha.
And it wasn't the rough, hoarse voice stuff that like other metal bands were using, right?
Or sing-songy either, the kind of maidenish priest thing. It wasn't.
Yeah,
that
it wasn't like
it's like a blues singer who I mean, and we know now. I mean, I certainly didn't know at the time, but you know, Elvis was certainly a reference, but Morrison,
Jim Morrison,
at that time, I'm sure I knew of the Doors, but I wouldn't have been able to reference.
I definitely knew of the Doors because here's another dumb story.
No, please.
A friend of mine back then used to compete with me to see who could sing Doors songs the best.
Okay.
We both always lost.
Okay.
In the 2-man competition. But when I heard that he was influenced by the Doors, I was like, oh yeah, I could definitely hear it.
Yeah.
And especially with some of the later songs he'd come out with.
Definitely. And Morrison's voice.
Morrison's voice is just, it's one of those deep sounding kind of baritone-y, but very melodic, very soulful, right?
Well, I think all of his musical, I mean, the ones that, Roy Orbison, Johnny Cash, Jim Morrison, Elvis Presley, Bill Medley. When you read every one of those, you go, yeah. If you've heard any of them, you go, yeah. That's exactly. It's like a mix of all of those. He can do. I mean, I don't know that he could do "Crying" from Roy Orbison. I don't think he could hit that high note of
Not
Roy
anymore.
But he has that sadness in his voice sometimes that Roy had.
Yes.
He has the authority in his voice the way Johnny Cash did.
He conveys a lot more than just anger.
Oh, very much so.
It's a lot of there is a lot of emotion in his voice,
For
whether
sure.
he wants to or not, or wants to admit it or not. There is a lot of forlorn sentiment in there, and it really
blood and tears when you get to that, or you get to something like Mother. The vocal style, while it's still Danzig, the way he's conveying that are very different.
Well, this is also the same guy in the same band that did "Am I Demon" and then Sistina's.
Right, exactly.
So when you get those two from the same source and it's sung to that effect.
And that goes through his whole career. It's not just in Danzig,
Yeah.
but Danzig he's able to expand a little bit more with that vocal style.
Definitely, yeah.
But
So that was my beginning,
Right
kinda,
on.
in junior high, and then up into high school, I really just took off and became what is known as a fiend
For
out
sure.
there to collectors and fans of his work. But again, we're talking of none other than Glenn Danzig,
The
who was
evil
born-
Elvis.
Evil Elvis. I know he's got a couple of other maybe not so great nicknames.
Well, yeah.
So we'll skip those.
Eater of cake,
Eater of cake, lover of
soup.
cats, lover of soup. Yeah, French onion soup. Lover of chocolate cake, to be more specific. But yeah, so Glenn Allen Anzalone was born in Lodi, New Jersey.
Which I have to say, just real quick, because I love this idea.
Yeah.
Lodi exists in two places that I know of: Northern California
Yeah.
and in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Yeah.
one of my absolute favorite songs from one of my absolute favorite bands, one that we share, the Creedence Clearwater,
Creedence,
a revival. Yeah. One of my favorite songs from them is the song Lodi.
Lodi. Well,
and it's just so weird. I know it's like, who gives a shit? But I'm not saying it means anything. I'm just simply saying I always thought that was interesting.
in Aaron's lifetime, that is what is known as a foreshadowing
moment.
moment.
It's so just crazy that and then to go like the first time hearing that and realizing he was born there, going, wait. Did Creedence like tour Lodi, New Jersey? And then you go, oh, no. There's Lodi in Northern California. Oh, okay.
I used to tell people that Creedence wrote that song for Danzig.
Now, listen, it would be awesome to think it's just this weird connection from these two bands that I love so much.
Yeah.
And without Danzig or Creedence, I've never even heard of Lodi. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just think that's so interesting. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So born June, I think 22nd, 1955.
Yes,
I
sir.
believe. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Lodi to Italian American parents. I know he's got a sister, maybe a couple of brothers out there.
Mm-hmm.
They do not go by the last name Danzig. He, at one point in the Misfits, changed it over, claiming that it is a family name. However, there's going to be a lot of the story here that Danzig's put out there, I think, to create that mystery.
For sure.
That sense of awe. And, right?
The man who shot Liberty Valance thing. When the legend becomes fact, you print the legend.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is because everywhere that I've looked and tried to look, family name is Anzalone and not Danzig.
No, and again, I think you're absolutely right. This was back in a day when you could still be mysterious.
Yes.
You could create your own legacy. You could be whoever you wanted to be, and it was very hard for anyone to know one way or the other. Plus, they could print stuff about you.
Yeah,
I mean, you literally have 96 Tears is written by a guy whose name is a question
mark. Yeah.
So you could be anybody at that point. It didn't really matter, and I think that's where that bridge with the Misfits is, where they are taking from old school rock and roll, and being this. Like you said, the creation. We're going to wear these uniforms. We're going to have this devil lock. We're going to do this thing. Like it's still a show. It's rock and roll, man. Yeah. I imagine they're very influenced by a lot of people, like David Bowie, who again constantly changing his look. David Bowie is not his real name either.
Right.
Now he had to change it because the Monkees kid. But anyway, it's just to say, I think that comes from all of that. So yes, very easy in 1977 to say, oh, Danzig's a family name. Well, who the fuck could possibly check?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, you were nobody at that point, so nobody gave a shit about checking.
You're nobody, and also being that he comes out of the punk scene,
right?
And I'm sure. I'm definitely sure that this happens in other musical.
Oh yeah.
scenes, but people were using stage names.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
So he's not a stranger to that at all.
No.
He did have a couple of other musical projects before the Misfits. He had a Whodat and.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Boojang or something like that.
It's the worst name for a band I've ever heard in my life.
Which was like his band. Because he also played in another band called Talus.
And then formed the other one after it, right? But they were mainly not doing originals, is what I think I read.
They were all
right?
covers.
They were all covers.
Covers, yeah.
But just what a name. Like
Whodat and Boojang. Or something.
Okay. God,
imagine
if
that
God
was the band.
Right. That would look shitty on a shirt, I tell you that much.
Well, I mean, some of the fucking shirts we got.
Well, I'm just saying.
There's enough material there to print.
God, I really love this band, but I hate telling people about it.
Can I shorten it to WAB?
Right. We'd all just give the initials.
Yeah, right.
Whoodang. Yeah, wow.
But yeah, so at one point he does meet up with a drummer in New Jersey, in Lodi, named Manny Martinez.
Yep.
Who famously drummed on the first Misfits single, which was the Cough Cool She single that started pretty much the Misfits' career.
Yes.
There were a couple of other band members in there, famously Deanne DiPiazza. They had a person named Rick Riley, who was also playing guitar for a while.
Right.
Mr. Jim actually makes an appearance. He is going to make a comeback in the Misfits when he replaces Manny as drummer. But in the beginning, it's just Danzig playing keyboards and singing.
Right.
Which fucking, again, 1977.
Right.
Sounds fucking great.
It really does. This Electric Rhodes kind of piano going on with the drumming. And again, if that's what the She and the Cough Cool 7-inch that you can, which forever we never got to hear, only got when it came out on the box set.
Yep.
I remember being such a revelation because She is my absolute favorite Misfits song. I love that song. So you hear a new version of it, but in that way, it's just like, whoa, what is this? And, you know, I mean, obviously it'd be hard to be, although in those days, what was considered punk, I guess you could have kept going with keyboard driven as opposed to guitar.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this idea that they could have continued with that, what could have been, that's pretty fucking interesting.
Well, there's an interesting thing here, too, because that, I think that single kind of is reminiscent of the New York art punk scene.
No doubt. Yes.
With the Talking Heads, Television,
Blondie,
and all that stuff. Yeah, so they were
100%.
very experimental in that sense. I don't know what exactly culminated in them finding a guitar, but according to legend, they played a couple of shows as a 3-piece,
right?
And then the next, you know, whatever the last show, like a month later, they were a 4-piece with famously Jerry Only on bass,
right?
Franchi Coma on guitar, and like I mentioned, Mr. Jim. When they started working on the songs that would eventually result in the Static Age album, which got shelved.
Yeah. But even that story is crazy, right? So he starts essentially his own label. What was it called again?
Blank Records.
Blank Records. Thank you. And Mercury Records starts its own label called Blank Records, only to find out that Glenn has trademarked it. So now they're kind of like, well, shit, what are we going to do?
They put out Per Ubu.
Right. And they essentially had to tell Danzig, all right, here's the deal. We're going to pay you for the name in 30 hours
of studio time. Yeah.
And whatever you record, we have first option in releasing.
Yep.
And they go in and record, which, as you said, which becomes Static Age.
Static Age. 17 songs.
Which, for anyone who hears it, is an amazing fucking Misfits record.
Yes.
I mean, technically, you got to hear some of it with collections, and you obviously the singles that they would put out and so forth.
Yep.
But as a collection of itself, as its own album, Static Age is a fucking mind blower of an album.
It's a great fucking album.
Well, and we'll get into this more, I think, as we go through their entire discography.
Yeah.
But it just shows for a band that now, you know, kind of represents Devilock and the Crimson Ghost and, you know, horror punk. The direction this band could have taken about 4 different times in its iterations is pretty fucking amazing and really says a lot for not just Glenn, who I know gets a lot of the credit, and understandably so to some degree, but also the band itself willing to try these new things in a world that was kind of open to all these things. Static Age is just absolutely an amazing record that I think shelved, like you said.
I think you're right. So we're going to use kind of place markers here.
Yeah.
Static Age, Walk Among Us,
Yeah.
and Earth AD. So they're kind of like their albums, right?
I think those, I mean, again, we could go into every single 7-inch that they ever did and every single single they, you know what I mean? We'd be here a while. I think we're not here to do a full retrospect of the entire Misfits catalog as much as
this would be a 5-part.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, like you said, Static Age, they go in 30 hours. Mercury says, no thanks.
Mercury says no thanks, and
You can have
apparently
it
so
back.
does Danzig.
Yeah, right, which is crazy. Because you say to yourself, now again, I would like to know what was that decision, because technically the songs do get,
a bunch of them do get released,
but just as singles, right? Okay, thank you.
And I know like She comes out at some point,
right?
I forget what the others. I forget like the exact songs.
But why? That's I think that's the question, because especially when you hear it and you realize what it is, and you just go, what the hell, bro?
Yeah.
Why shelve this? Like, why did you think putting them at, maybe, you know, look, for all I know, maybe it was a money thing. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they didn't see putting it out as an album affordable at that time, or they thought, you know, at that time, maybe the punk scene was about putting out 7 inches, and then eventually you put out a record. You know what I mean? But it's just like, dude, you have this... this record that if it had come out at that time, I think to some degree would have been revolutionary.
It would have been monumental.
Oh,
it would have been gigantic. Just because I think the quality of the songs, the quality of the performances, you know, and the fact that like you have obviously 2 seasoned musicians in the guitarist and drums,
right.
a bassist that apparently just picked up the bass like not even a year before.
Late Christmas gift.
Late
He's in
Christmas
there
gift.
recording.
Yeah, he's in there playing a fucking.
Wow.
I believe it was a Rickenbacker bass, which has that beautiful tone.
It does.
And then Danzig,
Yeah.
singing his ass off.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you've heard any of the Static Age outtakes,
Yeah.
they're amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking outtakes. Like
And-
even
and-
the outtakes are fun.
And these
right?
are by the way, these are now songs that are considered standards of the Misfit catalog. These
let me correct you if I may.
Please.
They're considered legendary.
Well, yes. I mean, you know what I mean. Like it's not like you went back and looked at Static Age and you go, well, I can kind of see why this didn't get really. Like,
Right.
No.
Yes. No.
Like, and
We
not
all
just
lost
as
our
Misfits
collective
fans.
shit,
Yeah. Not
right.
just as as hardcore Misfits fans that look beyond the flaws.
Right.
No. Everyone who listens to this goes, what the hell, bro?
Yes, yeah.
Like, why were you sitting on this? And by the way, if the box set, if the legal battle that happened and all the other shit that went down had never happened, would we have ever heard this? You know what I mean? And you just go, what a shame.
Well, there is a story that
Please.
when the box set was coming out,
Mhm.
they had, I believe it was the masters for Static Age
Mm-hmm.
that were in such poor condition they were able to transfer them one time after putting them in a oven.
Yes.
Right? Like they baked them.
I remember hearing. Yes. I remember
They
seeing this.
transferred them, and then immediately after the tapes went to shit, like they disintegrated or whatever.
Because
right?
they've just been sitting around for so freaking long.
Imagine-
oh, dude.
Imagine, right? For the longest time, Misfits fans knew there were two things that were legendary status.
Right.
Static Age,
Right.
which nobody had heard
Right.
in its entirety,
Right.
and something we'll get to
Yes.
a little bit later on.
Yes. No, it is one of those, the sliding doors of rock history.
Yeah.
What could have been? Because the reality is that, the Misfits, for the most part, in their scene, towards the end especially, became popular to a degree. You know what I mean? But never this
Highly debatable.
Well, never the status that they have now. They certainly didn't reach the status that a lot of the bands that they were in line with, or at least playing with, ever reached.
Right.
But there
yeah.
was a level there that he was able to kind of leap off of. But it just never. So you wonder, like, well, what if Static Age had come out? But then again, look, we can do this all day long if we do the what ifs. What if Static Age came out and they went, well, then never mind, we'd never do Earth AD.
Right.
Because we
Right.
found a sound and we're going to stick to
We're
it.
going to stick to that. Right.
That's possible too. It's so successful that we'll never change.
I do have to include, and just listening
Please.
from old timers who either played shows with them
Uh-huh.
or were around at that
Uh-huh.
time, the Misfits were not an entirely popular band.
No,
You
yeah,
know?
no.
So like, I know there are tons of bootlegs that both you and I have had,
Uh-huh.
people out there have
Sure,
had,
sure.
that will probably say otherwise. But they played to big empty rooms as much as any other band that's starting off there.
Sure.
And this was unfortunately for a long time, right? Like
Yeah.
They didn't play often, but when they did, it was always kind of a commotion because it's the Misfits, right?
Right.
They're gonna dress up
Right.
to the whole
Right.
ghoul shit and blah blah blah. But yeah, so I don't know what the reason was they didn't put Static Age out. I'm glad it's out.
Yeah.
It's a fucking marvelous fucking
Absolutely.
album. But like Aaron said, they do kind of progress into a different style within the band.
Yes.
The Misfits do change members a lot, with Danzig and Jerry kind of being the two mainstays.
Pretty much, yeah.
Thankfully, I would say.
I think only Spinal Tap has been through more drummers. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. I think Spinal Tap took influence from the Misfits at that point.
Right?
You know?
See, they've influenced everybody.
Yeah, dude.
Even fake bands.
Exactly, right. So then they get up to the... I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't say
Please.
that the Horror Business EP is my favorite
Okay.
Misfits release.
Obviously, Horror Business is on there. What are the other ones that...
Horror Business, Teenagers from Mars, Children in Heat.
Okay.
And then Were Eagles There?
Every one of those is choice.
That lineup, Jerry on bass, Bobby Steele on guitar,
Right on.
and Joey Image, rest
Yeah.
in peace, Joey Image, on drums with Danzig, crooning along.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds, for me, the most vicious that band has ever sounded, and on point, musically on point.
I got you.
You
Yeah.
know? It's just 4 bursts of
Mhm.
energy,
Mhm.
and it's this fucking aggressive sounding EP. I think the drums by far hold it down because Joey Image, maybe not the best drummer,
Right.
but could keep a steady beat.
I gotcha.
Right.
I got you.
But soon after that, they go in and release Walk Among Us.
Right.
There's a whole ass fucking story about Walk Among Us that we're not gonna tell you about. Because it had to do with different distributions and record labels kind of owning that.
Yeah.
Ruby Records out here in LA famously put that out back in the day. And they were putting out a bunch of punk albums. Walk Among Us was one of them. But Walk Among Us is also a great album.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the first album
And
the
a different
CD that I ever bought.
Absolutely. And here we go again. Totally different style.
Totally different style. More commercial?
Commercial, more pop. Let's be honest. Pop.
I wouldn't even say commercial. More accessible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it wasn't commercial.
Yeah, these are the whoa whoa whoas, and these are the yeahs.
This
and
is everything that the band is known for.
Absolutely.
Here. All the calling cards,
for
the
sure.
look, the sound, it's all here.
Yes.
It's all been perfected.
The anthematic songs,
Yeah,
all right there. This is peak everything you when you close your eyes and think of the Misfits. This is what you're thinking of.
Right.
You know,
and at this point, it's throughout this entire process, Danzig has this weird thing where drama follows him. Because this lineup is also.
I think he brings a lot of drama.
Well, yeah. I mean, it follows him because
at some point you start
him.
to realize, like, it's not following you; you're bringing it. You know.
Famously, there is an argument that took place with the drummer at this time.
Yeah.
Arthur Googie.
Yes.
The Goog, who was also in a bunch.
Gonna go with stage name on that one also.
I think that might be his.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think I think so.
Sorry to the Googie family. I apologize.
Mr. and Mrs. Googie.
Yes.
I apologize.
Actually, they were Googie when they came over,
Yeah,
and they, so they did at Ellis Island. They
Scottish
got rid of
Irish,
yeah,
I believe,
they got rid of the O, and
Americanized it. Yeah. So Danzig, at one point when they were on tour promoting the album, I don't know if he controlled the money, but the story goes in that Arthur Googie wanted 2 cheeseburgers. Danzig thought he should only have 1.
Oh, jeez.
And so...
Well, you're saying that Danzig wants control?
Yeah, well, Aaron, you just touched on something that's going to pop up
more and more
in our conversation.
This is, I mean, look, there, one thing I think that you continue to read and you see in his later career.
Yeah.
I think he has goals. I think he sees a vision. I think there's something down the road that he wants to achieve.
Yes.
If you're not on board, he will leave your ass behind, and he doesn't care what you bring to the band.
He is definitely one of those types.
He's motivated, and to a detriment. Or like a lot of people who have a vision in that way, everything gets kind of put to the side a lot of times.
Agreed.
For good and for bad. Look, the idea that he is so single-minded in his purpose is why we get all these Misfits records. Why do we get the Fiend Club? Why we get the printed shirts and on and on and on. All the things we love about the Misfits. Again, not alone, because it takes a band to do these things. But he is this visionary that sees these things long before they become a thing that is like the norm now. So without that, we don't get the rest of it. But unfortunately, the shit he leaves, or as you said, the drama he believes follows him, which in reality is all in his wake as he keeps going. Yeah. These are the things that you unfortunately are wrought as you do these, IC focused, I got to hit point B, it's well, you're killing everybody along the way. You know?
And one thing you kind of touched on this,
Please.
And we talked about this before we started recording, the collectability of the stuff he was putting out at that point.
Yes.
I think that part comes from him.
Okay.
Right. Because I did mention to you, he was already into horror movies.
Yes.
He's already heavily into music.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit more so than the other people in the band.
I think so. And the comic book stuff, too.
And the comic book stuff. So being that he's into horror movies and comic books, two highly collectible things, he had that mentality about
understanding a little bit of marketing, too. I mean, look, he went to college, he went to art school, and then he went to a photography school. Yep. So I imagine you get a little bit of like how to market yourself, how to make yourself stand out.
Yes,
and I think he got a little bit of that. And again, not the first to do it, but definitely one of those first bands that figured it out. Like, look, by making our stuff less accessible, or 50 copies of this pink one and 20 copies of the yellow, they'll fly off the shelves faster. And that's pretty innovative, because now it's standard.
Because
this
also
is what every band does this now.
Not only is it standard, but it also started in a, let's face it, a subculture where things are already not as widespread.
Right. You had to be in it to even know of it to begin with.
Exactly.
And now it's even more limited. Holy shit,
This is like the embodiment of the if you know, you know.
Yeah, right.
the saying, you know,
Yes.
like if you know about the Misfits, then you know.
Yes.
You know, right?
Yes.
But yeah, he makes the Fiend Club and offers records and shirts and buttons and all this shit. But again, I do think it was Danzig doing a lot of the driving force as far as the aesthetics of the band
Yeah.
was him.
Well, I think, and again, I think I agree with you 100 mainly because if you look at the rest of his career, you see there's always been something that drives him musically and, you know, career-wise. He is. I'm nothing against Jerry and the rest of them. It's just to say I think he was the guy who had bigger aspirations than they did.
Yeah.
In that way, you know.
Musically, I do think
for
it
sure.
was a culmination of the four of them.
Yes.
Right? Because
Yes.
as driven as he might be,
Yes.
he cannot play a bass like Jerry only.
And he's not a solo artist either.
He's not a solo artist.
He's not David Bowie. He's in a band called the Misfits. That means you're all sitting around. You may come in with an idea, but it gets flushed out with the band.
Definitely, yeah. And I think since a lot of those stories were primarily distributed by him himself.
Yes. The narrator, the history is told by the winners.
By the winners, yeah. And in this case, the winner is an evil Elvis.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and he's got the money behind him too. Once these stories become more popularized, let's be honest, he's the one in Samhain getting interviewed on a radio station. He's the one in Danzig getting go on Headbangers Ball.
Right.
Jerry Only isn't getting interviewed.
Right.
You know, he may be at a comic book store that you could go visit him and he'll tell you the real story, but that's not getting out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know the Misfits end up culminating their run in 1983.
Yes.
After the release of probably one of the most misunderstood albums. You know, a lot of people consider it crossover or even early thrash. But Earth AD is one hell of an album.
Oh, God, yes. Again, complete shift.
Complete shift.
Whatever we did on Walk Among Us, we're going to do the exact opposite.
Yeah. you wanted melody?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Fuck melody.
Yeah.
You want to hear instruments? Tough
No.
shit.
This is a train crash going into an airplane crash with a boat falling on everything. Yeah.
They almost invented noise albums.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
if Throbbing Gristle had not been around, they'd be like, wait a minute.
Right.
The Misfits were like, hold my keyboard.
Yeah, right. Throbbing Gristle was like, well, I guess we can't make that as accessible as we thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but it's a fantastic record once you can get through it.
Yes.
There's definitely that part. I mean, for the longest time, and still to this day, it's probably my least favorite of the Misfits albums, which is like saying, you know, I don't know, and that's not really saying that much. I mean, the least favorite of my Misfits album is still better than any Misfit, any other album that a bunch of other bands have ever put out.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just to say it probably gets the least amount of listens, as opposed to the others. But I mean, for what it influenced, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's just like you could say. I know it's not, but again, amongst some of the first hardcore punk albums to come out, definitely what thrash took from it, i.e. Metallica, all these kind of things. It's just like you can't say enough. Again, all of their albums, you just can't say enough about where each one of them, again, Static Age, I know I'm kind of doing rewriting history, but when you look at these albums and they're entire bands that have based their entire career on Walk Among Us.
Oh, definitely.
Invented the entire horror genre to a degree, even if it's not necessarily a genre. But the AFIs, the My Chemical Romances, the Balzacs, and on and on and on. And then you could be a metalhead, and even if you didn't like punk, you could like Earth AD because of the aggression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And in fact, it's a good thing that you mentioned them twice, Metallica.
Yeah.
I do believe, and maybe I don't know if you agree, Metallica is maybe the biggest reason the Misfits, kind of came back into popular conversation
for a band. One of those things. We've talked about it even on this podcast, trying to do this in a small way, on our own small way, using our powers for good. You know what I mean? This is a Metallica band that could have done covers of any fucking band that they wanted to, and. Cliff and James were massive Misfits fans.
Yeah.
They love Samhain. They went on to love fucking Danzig.
Yeah.
And they fucking, when they did Garage Days Revisited, the two songs they picked, Green Hell and Last Caress.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind. I watched a guy who did a little Misfits thing, and he even said he was indirectly, because the friend that gave him the Misfits tape that introduced him to the Misfits, he was introduced to the Misfits by Metallica.
Oh, yeah.
So even inadvertently, this kid, without knowing it, was introduced to Misfits by Metallica. You know, how many people that was, we'll never really know.
I mean, even again, there's a popular thing I'm going to say
Please.
this episode, as legend goes, Cliff Burton always wearing the Crimson Ghost t-shirt, you know, which let's get into this also.
Please.
Crimson Ghost not acquired, but used by Danzig as the mascot or symbol of the Misfits.
Yes.
Not one he drew himself,
No,
by the way.
it is not.
This was taken by off the Crimson Ghost cereal, which was a show, you know,
Yes.
kind of bank robbers and old-timey crime guys and hey, schmeg, like, hey, you know. If you haven't seen it, it's actually kind of fun. Some parts are kind of boring as hell, but it is what it is, and it looked fucking cool, of course, right? So he fucking plastered it everywhere.
Everywhere.
And just by way of absorption through fucking just having it around.
Oh, yeah.
It is now known as
it's
the Misfits Crimson Ghost.
It's part of pop culture now. It's right up there with the bear from the Grateful Dead, Iron Maiden's Eddie. I mean, you know, Motorhead's the dog,
the warthog.
I mean, it's just, to me, it's like, you know, the shirts, right? You can just get it with a Crimson Ghost, and we all know who that is.
I think it rivals the Lips, the Rolling Stone Lips.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
it's right
like,
up there.
It's right up there.
It's right up there. I mean, again, if you can just wear the shirt with the Crimson Ghost, then everybody knows who you're talking about.
Yeah.
We're done here.
Yep.
That's how great the marketing they did, and you're right, it wasn't even his.
It wasn't.
Let alone the Misfits font. Not his either.
Not his either. That came from Chiller Theater.
Yeah. Also the magazine, right? The Monster magazine.
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just like,
not Chiller Theater. It was another one. Famous Monsters.
If you pick up a Famous Monsters comic book, you'll see that's where the font came from.
Yeah.
You know, and again, you know, Danzig now may not say that. At the time, I'm sure he would have said, "No, I'm borrowing because I'm a fan." You know, now he's telling you he invented it, but you know,
of course.
You know,
well,
I mean, he's right up there with you know, Gene from Kiss about inventing everything. But you know, it's one of those things where you just go, look. You know, he has to tell that story now because he told it for so fucking long. You lied so long.
You believe the lie.
Now you have to. You have to believe it because otherwise, you know, we all know now, of course, we all know. But yeah, I mean, either way, to utilize it in the way he did, it has now become synonymous with the Misfits despite not coming from them.
Yeah.
You know, and again, to their credit, that's their marketing. To have that, you know, Black Flag, have the Black Flag.
Yes, the bars. Yeah.
So you got the bars. If you have that tattooed, if you have it on your shirt, we all know what that is.
Yep.
You know, that is a smart. And again, this isn't to say that it was a marketing tool that they all sat around and did. No, I'm sure they came up with a logo because that's what bands did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it stuck, and it was something that you could represent. It meant something. Yeah. If you had the Crimson Ghost on your arm, if you had the Black Flag on your arm, people knew what that meant and what that said about you.
What that said about you.
You know? And that's smart. That's just great marketing all the way around. Now, obviously, didn't do much for him at the time,
not at the
per
time.
se.
Yeah.
But, you know, and to that, I want to say, I think when you're ahead of your time musically, and to some degree they were, I don't think you're ever popular. I think it's just too out. Those who loved the Misfits, I think, loved them.
Yeah.
One of the things I did read was saying, like, you know, people who were into them and saw them live and got to hear those records all knew they were witnessing something special. You know, even if it was that, it's kind of like that. You know, I said it on this probably a million times. It's kind of like that Velvet Underground thing. It's like those who saw the Velvet Underground all started a band. You know, not many people got to see them live. Not many people listened to them, but everybody who did started a band because they were that influential. And I do think the Misfits had that very early on. That it may not have been a killer following, but those who really loved them understood it. But at the time, it was so, you know, punk at that time for the most part was very political. You know, you were saying something about society. You know, if you were Black Flag, if you were, you know, Minor Threat, if you were, you know, Bad Brains and stuff like that, like you were saying something about society. The Misfits, to a degree, or at least not on the surface, we're really saying anything about society. You know what I mean?
Well, because you also, there's a I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
But
you're doing horror movies instead of like, but dude, what about the Reagan economics that are fucking up this country? No, I got you.
They also,
but I'm not singing about that.
They also had counterparts like the Cramps.
No doubt.
Like the
for
Cramps
sure.
Come out of New York,
And another band, I think too, ahead of their time. Those who loved them.
Yep.
But now everybody looks back at them and goes, "Man, how underrated were the Cramps, and how amazing were they, and how stupid were we not to embrace the shit out of these people? And they should have been a bigger band."
I do think there is a certain kind of retrospective nostalgia
No doubt.
that people get, especially when, like, let's face it, we weren't there.
Sure.
So we imagine ourselves admiring the coming up of these bands,
No doubt.
with awe.
Yes.
because we hold so much awe already
No doubt.
for them. Right?
No doubt.
But yeah, like the Misfits were not a popular
No.
band. Not until after they broke up anyway.
Yes.
Right? Because of Metallica helping them along.
No doubt. That's huge. It can't be.
Yeah.
You said it, and you're right, and it cannot be understated. The number of fans brought to the Misfits by Metallica, will never actually know the total of that.
Yeah,
that includes, by the way, it includes Diamond Head. I would say the same thing with
Diamond Head,
Killing
yeah.
Joke. I would say all the
Yeah.
bands that received a nod on that
that little push.
They all got one. Diamond Head essentially was broken up at that point, and
Yep.
now suddenly they got 4 more albums. You know what I mean? It's just and nothing against them. Good for them. It's just to say, and thank you Metallica for shining a light again, using your powers for good.
For good, yeah.
Shining a light on these bands that influenced
What happened to that Metallica, right?
That's another podcast, my friend. But yeah, no, it's just and you're right. That one, even and to Danzig's credit, who usually does not do this sort of thing, even he admits, he will say over and over again.
That's right.
He met them very early on at a Black Flag concert, really liked them. They got along really, really well. Cliff was this huge guy. He says, and one day all of a sudden I get a phone call. Cliff wants the lyrics to Green Hell. And I'm like, what? For what? And all of a sudden, here comes Garage Days Revisited. And I'm like, holy shit. And when they did Garage Inc., which I know a lot of fans listening probably never heard it. I do own it. I do enjoy it. They did again. They did some more Misfits songs. So again, they I love that. I love that, despite that you can't necessarily hear the Misfits in Metallica per se,
Right.
I do love that they still shine the spotlight. And, thank you, Cliff. Because, and nothing against James, just to say,
Cliff was the guy.
Cliff's the guy who brought it to the band.
Cliff was the cool guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm glad he brought it to James, and I'm glad they both love it. Because James has continued to, you get plenty of shirts that you see him wearing Danzig shirts.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and
He
stuff like that.
continues
He
to
continues to
love
love
the band. I think
Danzig.
also because he was so friends with Cliff, right?
Yes.
Because that love carries on into Danzig's next band,
Yes,
which
sir.
becomes Samhain.
Yes, sir.
So Danzig kind of groups up with ex-Misfits photographer one Eric Von Stillman, also known as Eerie Von.
Yeah.
Eerie Von had his own band called Morning Noise
Right.
in New Jersey, also kind of on the horror tinge.
Okay.
But they hire or kind of group up with Lyle Preslar,
Okay.
who was playing guitar in Minor Threat.
Yes. Okay. It almost starts a bit as a supergroup to some degree,
Kind of,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they tried to get Lyle in, who apparently was into the music,
Mhm.
but kept getting clowned on by the guys back in D.C. because of all the creepy shit
Sure,
that he
sure,
was
sure.
now starting to dress up as. And also, I guess the train ride was too much.
Okay.
So Lyle didn't work out, although I do believe he's in that first Samhain album.
I think that is the talk. Yes.
Yeah, right?
I believe so.
They also bring in drummer Steve Zing.
Yes.
Who Steve Zing's Greco, as his profiles will let you know.
Okay.
Another Jersey resident who went to high school with Doyle, who was the last Misfits photographer.
Okay.
Yeah, so they all fucking know each
yeah,
other,
yeah.
right. It's a
That makes sense. I mean, where else are you pulling from, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
You pull from the
and
the
again,
chorale that
the punk scene, as much as people may have loved it and been into it, was still very, very small, especially at that time. Still,
I imagine, especially in Lodi,
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
New Jersey. Right?
yes.
So they get Steve Zing, Eerie Von, and Lyle Preslar, and then Danzig records the first Samhain album, Initium.
Yeah.
A lot of people say Initium, which is incorrect.
Okay.
It's Latin, Initium.
Okay.
But that, again, what a fucking album. What an strong ass album to come out of the gates, just punching left and right.
My favorite of technically the three is the first one.
The first one.
I absolutely love that one. Number one has my favorite song, with Archangel.
Archangel.
I love one of the best moments of my life, after wife, kids. Yeah. Okay, maybe tied kids, but was getting to see the Samhain reunion and getting to see them close out with Archangel, Danzig with a guitar in hand.
Yep.
And it was just like, I cannot believe I'm getting to hear this and see him play guitar. I know he doesn't play guitar, but hey, it's still playing guitar.
You're still playing.
Yeah,
you're playing what you wrote.
Yeah,
so
it's one chord over and over. But it's still it's just that was just like I absolutely love that. But I also. The darkness that I heard in Danzig felt twofold in Samhain.
Yes, I agree with that.
Where it was just like, oh wow,
it was more primitive.
Oh yeah, but like even lyrically, some of the things you think pain, nothing. It's like, oh my God, where are we going with this, dude? And I just that first one especially, and something I want to say, obviously we were not alive for the Misfits stuff.
Yeah.
Certainly the early stuff. And obviously we were
just alive.
We were just alive, we weren't alive necessarily even for the Samhain or cognizant of the Samhain stuff to get it when it was coming out.
Right.
But I do remember one of the things which I'm not doing one of these when I'm my day, but like finding those records was, and I don't mean vinyl, I mean CD. Having to find those was like a hunt beyond a hunt.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember going into CD stores and going through the S's and you see Samhain. Nothing.
Yep.
And then one day, Final Descent. Oh, fuck me, dude. And you go run up, you buy it, and you get the fuck out of there and you get home, man. Because, and it's just over and over again, especially the Samhain stuff. That was the hardest shit to find.
You almost felt like you were stealing it even after buying it.
Oh, it was like a treasure. Like you're like I met, of course, most of my friends didn't give two shits about it. But, he's like, you don't understand, dude. November Coming Fire, bro. And it's just like, what about, okay, you got a CD at the CD store. No, dude. It's fucking Samhain, dude. And now, of course, good luck. I don't even know if you can find that stuff.
Well, again, another thing we'll get to after this whole conversation.
But
Iridium, which has my favorite song, Black Dream.
Oh, another great one.
Love Black Dream.
Like I said, it is my favorite of the three. I know that third one doesn't technically count, or and we'll get into that. But I always count them as the three, and to me, it's just God. That one I return to the most. Every song on there's choice.
I believe Danzig considers it the third.
He does, right? But
I mean, if he does, then I'm going to.
Okay, good. Then I'll continue to refer to it as
Final Descent is the third Samhain album because Danzig put it out as an album.
Yeah,
it wasn't a comp. It wasn't a best of. It was an album.
Right.
Regardless of and
who plays on it. And so forth. Okay,
I guess this second album, for some reason, it's called Samhain 3. I just forgot the fucking name.
Unholy Passion?
No. No.
I don't know then.
You just said the name of the album.
Final Descent.
No.
November Coming Fire.
November Coming Fire.
Sorry. That was okay, so that came out second. You're right.
November Coming Fire is Samhain 3.
Yes.
But it's the second one.
Yeah.
Which
I
guess Unholy Passion is supposed to be the second one.
That's what. See, and that's how I always assumed it was because I didn't. I don't have the internet at this point. I don't know anybody else who's listening to this stuff. So anybody who knows the history of it. So to me, it was like getting three. Getting three, I think, was the easiest one to find. It was getting the other two. So finding the first one, which I'm not going to say that name because you're just going to correct me, and I'm just keep ruining it. And so I could never when I found that was a major thing. But finally finding Final Descent was like, man, I felt like that took me years to find that thing, and I've really never seen them since. And it's just one of those things where I just assumed, well, this must be the second album because you have Samhain the first one, and this one's called Samhain 3. Well, then it has logically this has to be Samhain 2, right?
Yeah.
But November Coming Fire, as I learned later on, actually comes out later or first before Final Descent.
Yeah. So
Danzig once again fucking with all of us.
Again, fucking dude, get your story straight, right? I actually found the hardest one to get was the Danzig Samhain 3.
Really?
Yeah, because I found Final Descent before anything.
Okay, interesting. You mean harder to find? I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about harder to get into. I got you.
Oh, no.
Harder
to
find.
Interesting.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that Final Descent was the one I could just, I could never find it. And then finally did.
That one first, and then I got 3, and then an idiom.
Okay.
At the same time.
Awesome.
Afterwards. Yeah. But yeah, so the second album
Please.
comes out. At that point, they get another guitarist. I forget his name. Pete Marshall, Damien,
Yes.
who played an axe guitar that looked like the axe that what's his face, Gene Simmons used in Kiss.
Yeah.
but the guitar version,
Right.
obviously.
Well, because Gene invented it.
Yeah, of course.
He invented the
and
axe.
patented.
Yes.
Yeah. And they started touring around a lot more for that album around that time.
An iconic one too. The cover is very iconic. The Danzig skulls that are now going to be
Very familiar skull
yes.
is making an appearance.
And then on that backside where they're all around the fire and the photography done by Erie himself.
Done by Erie,
you know,
they're all at a beach.
The writing is Misfitsy, Danzig-ish. You know, the way the script is and everything else.
Spooky script. They have To Walk the Night, which is my favorite song on there.
Another great one, yes.
Kiss of Steel.
Yes.
Mother of Mercy.
Mother of Mercies. That's probably my favorite on that album.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I do
Human
like
Pony Girl.
Human Pony Girl. I love Human Pony Girl. So you can tell in this kind of period of his music, a lot more experimental.
Oh, to me, Samhain is the experimental Danzig.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know when we get into Danzig, he will say he's experimenting, and there's some hits and misses, more misses than
More
hits.
misses, yeah. Struck out
his
a lot
batting
more.
average was not
Not a good
way
one.
below 500.
Yeah.
But yes, Samhain to me is where he is. You get the sense that these were things that were brewing maybe in Misfits that he, in his opinion, felt like the other band members could not keep up with or weren't into.
Well, yes, because he does famously say that he wrote Archangel during the Misfits for Dave Vanian.
Okay.
To sing over it.
Okay.
That never happened. And there's a lot of Misfits songs that were apparently written for Samhain also, like Blood Feast, a lot of stuff on Earth AD.
Okay, interesting.
And I would have loved to have heard the Samhain version of those songs.
Sure.
Great. But he also does bring over some Misfits classics because they re-record All Hell Breaks Loose.
Yes.
Now titled All Hell.
Yes.
Horror Business, which is now Horror Biz.
Right.
Fucking dumb reasons, of course.
Which always felt like they were different enough, but there was this part that was like, well, you did it with the Misfits. I don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
You know, and it took a while to just be like, well, I don't like this version. I like the Misfits version. Stop it. Why are you doing it to the Misfits song?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Who knows how the man thinks?
Yeah.
right?
No. Well, if we could do that, please. That's a podcast unto itself.
We'd have him on here. Explain. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Samhain 3, and then fantastic record, and the experimental is, I think, a great choice of words to use for that band, and I think that's why that one, for a lot of people, at least people I know and people we talk to, it's kind of that one maybe of the three can be a little more hit or miss with people. You know, I think most people I know like it, but if they're picking one, like there are guys I know like purely like the Misfits.
Sure.
The Danzig stuff's a little too weak for them in their mind, and then the Samhain stuff's too weird.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the thing that kind of turned me on about the Samhain. In a weird way, like I know it. He's never cited it, and I don't know. It hit me right now. There's a little bit of Celtic Frostish kind of feel in them.
Interesting, because he references a lot of what is called Batcave bands.
Okay.
Like Alien Sex Fiend.
Sure. That would make sense.
You know,
Bauhaus. That's Susie Banshees, stuff like
so
I
a
can
lot
imagine.
of like the spookier kind of goth.
Oh, for sure.
Again, it's called the Batcave scene,
right?
Because there was a club called the Batcave.
I got you. And they were friends with Batman.
Of course. They did the Batusi.
They were the original Robin.
But yeah, so he releases these two albums, and then eventually releases what we're going to consider the third album,
Right.
Final Descent. At the same time that the first Danzig album. So the timelines overlap here.
Yes, which again, coming into it, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Had no idea. I do remember reading in the liner notes where it's like John Christ playing lead guitar on 3 or 4 of these songs.
Yeah.
And of course, understanding that Erie Vaughn follows him into Danzig. And Chuck Biscuits, I think, even makes an appearance. And you go,
oh, yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I guess he just, brought in and then went, hey, these guys are even better. Let's do Danzig. I had no clue of what this, actual backstory that was going on,
Yeah.
So please.
So, he's recording with, like Aaron mentioned, Chuck Biscuits, John Christ, Erie Vaughn, the classic Danzig lineup.
For sure.
This is right before Danzig makes its kind of appearance as a band.
Right.
But they do re-record a bunch of Samhain songs.
Right.
actually on that final one, Final Descent,
Mhm.
Danzig is playing drums horribly, or at least he's programming the drum machine horribly.
Okay.
You can tell also on the songs.
Yeah.
You can hear where it's not an actual drummer, where it's just like, ooh, this guy didn't read the instructions on that drum machine.
It's called artistic.
Yeah. You know what? You're correct. Who am I to say?
Oh, anybody can keep a beat, but come on, man.
But can they lose a beat?
It's jazz, baby. He was influenced. It's the notes you don't play.
Exactly, right? But I there's a lot of good songs on
Oh, yeah.
Final Descent. I actually like the song Descent. I thought that was a cool song.
I thought I'm blanking on the name, but it's just him moaning, and it's Misery's Tomb.
Misery Tomb.
I love that. I mean, dude, I remember the first time hearing that, like, that was very strange and weird. Like, I'm not hearing any, like, necessarily vocals
Right.
that are or any music. How do you make? How can this be music?
Yeah,
And yet very dark, very scary. You
it
know?
ends up being like the weird version of I Am Misery,
Yes.
which is a song on there.
Yes,
I
another
do
one.
like the song Death in Its Arms,
Oh,
which is honestly a Danzig song.
yes.
You know, like it's total bluesy. He does the kind of snarl when he's
Yes.
singing it. You could totally picture him singing it. But that almost leads right into the first Danzig album,
Yes.
which made its appearance in 1988.
Yep.
Deaf American put it
Yeah.
out. Rick Rubin's label. He was releasing Slayer, and I believe he even said that Slayer had been recording at the same time that Danzig was.
I believe so, because we would have been around the same time. But I mean, you're talking about, which is such a crazy thing when you think of Deaf America. You know, when it starts, it's him and Russell Simmons.
Russell Simmons, yeah.
So the early days of hip hop are what these two are: Beastie Boys,
Beastie
LL
Boys.
Cool J,
Yeah.
all these things, and then all of a sudden, Rick Rubin goes off and gets Slayer and Danzig.
Danzig, yeah.
You know, and
Well,
for a brief moment, they are on Def Jam.
yes,
You know,
on
for
Def
a
Jam,
very
yes.
brief moment
Yes.
before it all turns to Def America, when him and Russell Simmons split.
Right.
You know, and you're just like, what a label. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, and it is this strange thing. And one thing I'm always reminded of a little bit too is, like, you know, our mutual friend David always says, like, what did Rick Rubin hear in Samhain that made him think Danzig? You know,
Well,
I
you
think
know
I think there are things there, but it is this interesting because it's
I know
different enough.
I
you
know it wasn't anything from the first two albums.
Couldn't have been.
It would have been something that ultimately ended up on Final
Yeah.
Descent.
Yeah.
You know, the more bluesy stuff.
Yes.
Because famously, that first Danzig album has a very dry mix.
Mhm.
It's a very, I guess it's known as an AC/DC mix.
Yeah.
More guitar oriented.
Right.
A lot of drums.
Yeah.
The bass does not exist on that mix at all.
Yeah.
And if it does, it's because you have a really good system.
Right.
You know, but Danzig's voice stands out by
Oh.
far, and you hear it. You hear the voice and exactly what he's gonna get
And
to
I
be
think
known for.
I think
right?
that's what Rick was signing.
Yeah.
Rick is signing Glenn.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that's why they call it Danzig. Danzig says himself that, you know, that was the whole idea. Is he talks him into saying, like, look, just call it Danzig.
Yeah,
Then you can
yeah.
just revolve this door forever, and it doesn't
Right.
really matter.
That was the
know.
original intent of that band. to
Now,
have
of
a
course, this is
revolving-
another one too. We can get into where it's, you know, what Glenn says now as opposed to at the time. You know, oh, I was always looking to replace John because he was never really that good. And it's
Right,
like,
right.
get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here! Come on, dude. You know, John makes it for 4 albums. You can't. In 4 albums, you
Yeah.
couldn't find a better guitar player. Which, by the way, John Christ is a great
Mhm.
guitar player. You know, and yeah, as you said, the classic lineup as we know it. Chuck Biscuits.
Also,
please.
John Christ. Apparently, his name John Von Christ.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a
Weird
lot of
that
Vons.
Yeah, weird that you dropped the Vaughn. I mean, I guess because you got Erie Vaughn, but
Erie
still,
Vaughn,
like, you
yeah.
know, you don't want to have people thinking you're brothers, I guess. But,
Yeah.
you know, keeps Erie, Chuck Biscuits coming out of, no, what other,
So he
definitely
was
out of the
in-
punk scene, right?
He was out of Black Flag.
Okay.
Also in DOA.
That's the other one I was
Yeah.
thinking, yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, somewhat known, certainly to,
Oh, definitely known.
Glenn definitely would have known him, you know what I mean? So these guys are, as you said, this is the classic lineup.
This is the classic lineup. I think everyone who is a Danzig fan, just the band Danzig,
Yeah.
will appreciate the first 4.
Oh, for
They are
sure.
the legendary status
Yes.
first
Yes.
4. Also, the Samhain skull makes a jump into
Yes.
the band,
Yes.
right?
And becomes, once again, his ability to market a thing that we all know now.
yes, definitely.
You know,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be the name. You just see the skull and you immediately go, Danzig.
You think Danzig, but originally it was the Crystar, the Crystal Warrior skull from one of the issues of that comic line.
Right.
put out by Marvel Comics.
Well,
because at one point, apparently, Danzig wanted to be a Marvel comic book artist.
Yes.
He had submitted artwork to them, but I guess never got accepted.
No. Always, and that through line goes from Misfits, Samhain all the way into Danzig. He'd always been a huge comic book
Always
guy,
a
big into that stuff, and eventually starts Verotic and does this little thing. But as I said, went to school, he essentially wanted to become a graphic artist that did comic books.
Yes.
So that through line has always been
Always
a part
been
of
yes,
Danzig.
Definitely.
Yeah. So where he finds these things and then popularizes them is always very interesting.
That's an interesting one because the guy that originally came up with the skull, I forget the gentleman's name. Excuse me for that. He still has not been compensated for the use. So another thing that comes up much in Danzig's career is people not being compensated, aside from the man himself.
Yeah.
So that is famously what
the
what
dirty business of the music business.
Well, even before it was music business,
Sure.
it was just four guys from Lodi
No
known
doubt.
as the Misfits, he was not,
Well, and to be fair, there have been times where so have the Only Brothers. This is why we do not have, is it 12 Hits from Hell?
12 hits. Well, that's an interesting one. That 12 hits
they
doesn't
both
come out
objected to the idea of the other guitar player being on that.
of Bobby Steele.
Bobby Steele.
Yeah,
that was an
they-
objection on both sides.
If
So
there was ever a uniting force
Yeah.
in the Misfits, is that they all hated Bobby Steele.
there's one thing they can agree, two things they can agree on.
Yeah.
Getting fairly compensated for great Misfit shows
Yes,
as a
yes.
reunited
Oh,
band
yes.
and
Oh, yeah.
hating Bobby Steele.
Yes.
Those two things,
Yeah.
yes, they are united as shit.
Yeah. So,
But it's just to say, again, yes, Danzig is legendary for a lot of the bullshit that he's pulled over the years with a lot of his band members and a lot of ex-band members, especially
yes,
the idea that Jerry and them sued over the Misfits and on and on and on. No doubt about it. But in that way too, Jerry and his brother can be just as much if they really want to. And unfortunately, this is why we do not have other than bootlegs of 12 Hits from Hell.
right. Which even those bootlegs are hard to come by.
Oh,
And if
absolutely.
anyone's heard that mix, it is. I mean, some of those mixes are on the Coffin.
Yes.
The Coffin box set.
Yes.
But imagine it being the album that we got promised.
Right.
Which, if you care to listen, there is another podcast out there called Hard Lore.
Yes.
They interviewed the gentleman responsible for the box set and even 12 Hits from Hell.
I cannot recommend that enough.
That
It is
episode
so
is
cool.
amazing.
I don't care how much you love the Misfits or what you think you know. I promise you will walk away learning some shit off of listening
that
to
was
that.
such a good episode. And, for Aaron and myself, both lifelong fiends. We're
Yes.
both older as well. We are right in that age range where this shit hits us in the feel goods.
Yes.
Listening to that episode was fan-fucking-tastic. So.
Also solidified one of the things we've already touched on a few times, things where Danzig's attitude and the way he conducts business or in the way he thinks others don't know what they're doing.
Yes.
Again, I would recommend listening to that episode, obviously, after you've listened to
After
all of
this
ours.
one, yeah.
But it's a great episode, and one of the things that I think we all took away from it was the part where he was very much poo-pooed on every idea that this guy had for the Coffin box set. Now, anybody who owns this Coffin box set, I know I do. I know Nick does.
Yeah.
Most of our Fiend friends do. This thing is amazing. It's fucking gorgeous. It's really, really beautiful. They put a lot of love in it, especially if you got that early edition of it.
The first one, yeah.
I did. And, that was definitely one of those, I'm not doing anything for the next 2 weeks because I spent all my money on it and it was absolutely fucking worth it.
Same.
But, I can remember over and over again reading how Danzig was preparing a Samhain box set.
Oh, yeah.
And swore up and down that Misfits one was a piece of shit compared to what he was prepared to do with the Samhain, which for anyone I knew thought, well, that's a high bar, brother, so this thing ought to be amazing.
Yeah.
And then anybody who bought the Samhain box set, and I did, and I like it, and I have it, but you definitely are underwhelmed.
You got first of all, paper sleeves.
Please. Thank you.
And a VHS tape. When we're going into fucking DVD.
Right. And this wasn't one of those, I don't know to go with Blu-ray or high def because, porn hasn't decided which one we're going to use yet kind of era. No. DVDs were out. He could have put it on a DVD.
Yeah.
And
it would have been cheaper.
Yeah, they're cheaper. And they're paper sleeves, as Nick said, in a plastic piece that essentially, let's be honest, and I have this. I have the Danzig 3 box set. So it has the Master and Marguerite, the whole thing on. It's a box, and it's all like I don't know what you call that, where it's like you can feel it. It's like,
Oh yeah, like
you know,
is it embossed? Or something?
let's
Is
go
that
with
it?
that.
Sure.
I'll
All right.
embossed. I don't care.
I
That
don't
that
know.
sounds good.
You
It's a
know,
nice word.
I'm blind. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say braille because it's not technically braille, but I
Well,
can.
I can
I
touch
can
it with
feel
my
the master
fingers.
and I can feel the margarita.
I can feel the masters.
Yeah, oh, believe me. And I have. And I remember getting that, and that's another one where it's the same thing. By the way, it's the
Yeah.
box. Only the artwork is amazing because
Yeah.
it's all perforated, like you said.
Sure.
And then you get plastic in there with the CD. Which at the time, that's what we got, and a VHS cassette that gives you the how the gods kill video.
Yeah.
But at that time, VHS was what you got. By the
Sure.
way, I had the Danzig 1 VHS. I had the Danzig 2 VHS.
Yeah.
I still do. So that is what we got, 15, 20 years later in the Samhain because of his ego, because of I don't know what. And again, all this is to simply say how many times this man, and we'll get into it more, has stepped in his own way. Because when you watch this interview with this guy and the ideas he has for that Misfits box set and what you got out of
What
it.
we could have had.
What we could have had, but let alone what we got. Oh,
Yeah.
my God. And then to hear a guy tell you, that was nothing, wait till you'll see mine, and we see it, you just go, oh, wow. So, it's very interesting for a guy who, again, as you said, with the Misfits, developed things like the Devil Locks and the screen printing and the limited editions and taking all those things with all this creative juice, and then he finally gets to do it for himself, and you go, this is it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry. That was
The creative juice runneth.
Yeah, runneth out.
Runneth
that orange has been squoze, my friend.
Yep,
And it's just it sucks. But again, that was a huge tangent. But back to Danzig 1. Yes,
Well, Danzig 1 through 4.
1 through
again.
4. Okay, yes.
Danzig 4.
And Danzig
I think
1 for the. I think most people
Go
know
ahead.
this, but I just don't want to say once again. Our beloved James Hetfield makes an appearance
a
on that
couple
record, uncredited, because record labels can't get their shit together.
Yep.
But for years, I had no idea that James Hetfield was on that record.
Famously, Twisted Cane.
Yes.
He's on there. He's on a couple other tracks as well, but
And
you can hear him the most on Twisted Cane.
And it's really cool to think that again, this guy gets to be on these records. That's really kind of cool. I wish he was credited. I think that would have been way
awesome.
cooler.
Yeah.
That we would have known that. And again, also a different time where, as I mentioned before, he also puts out a VHS cassette that comes the Danzig 1. So now you get the music videos, you get behind the scenes. This was YouTube and Instagram before YouTube and Instagram for us.
Right.
This is how we got to know them, where you'd see, welcome to my book collection. Oh, Danzig has a book collection. What
Yeah,
books are we
yeah.
going to look at? Oh, look at him with his comic book. And oh, here's Erie talking about how I fucking hate practicing.
Yeah.
John Christ with, this is my guitar color bitch. And he's over there noodling around. And Chuck Biscuits with, these are my favorite cereals.
Cereals and drawing and everything.
It's
Yeah.
like, what a goofball these guys are. You know?
but it was again building the lore.
Yes.
right?
Oh, very
Building
much
the
so.
lore of not just the band, but the man behind the band, which is Danzig. right?
Shirtless in his own home. While
Exactly.
He's, the microphone attached to his chest, the thing, playing the guitar.
Playing the guitar.
But no,
I like this guitar.
Yeah.
Les Paul.
That's
That's all I
I play
ever
is Les
played.
Paul, And,
And of course, it's black.
yes, of
so.
course. Oh, man, if I told you what I was thinking right now, they'd probably put me in jail. And you're
Yeah.
just like, all right, calm down, Glenn.
But we ate it up.
Oh,
we ate it up.
Every bit of it. I mean, listen, we are literally reciting it as if these are movies.
Exactly,
It's
yes.
fucking Naked Gun or Airplane.
Right.
Like,
right.
that's how many times we've fucking seen these things.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's because that was the only way to get more of a connection to an artist that we loved.
Yeah.
And when they would put these out, you went and you tried to get them. I remember getting it, at Sam Goody and taking it home and immediately throwing in the VCR and just watching it over and over and over again. That's, by the way, that first one is also the first time I believe we hear Black Aria.
That's right. That's right.
It opens and closes the DVD or the VHS.
The VHS, yeah.
And I was like, what is this?
Yeah. Also, like Aaron said, he does put out Black Aria on his own.
Yes.
Which is kind of like a neoclassical, not ambient, but like soundtracky.
Yes,
kind
yes.
of, recording. It has a Michael Winkaluda painting as the cover.
I love that painting.
Beautiful painting. Yeah.
And that was I have to say, for me, hugely influential album, because you're right, it's not ambient, but I do believe my love of things like ambient and experimental, for me, I believe, as I've mentioned on this podcast many times, as you know, Lustmord is one of my all-time favorite artists in general. I do believe, for me, there may be a direct line from Black Aria to Lustmord. Like, I don't know if I would have been open to that without hearing Black Aria. And I remember just there were nights I'd sit there in the dark and just on my Walkman, and I'd be just listening to that tape over and over.
Nice.
It was spooky. It was beautiful. It was, at the same time, it had these evil feels. And then to learn that it's inspired by, what's the book, right? It's about the devil being thrown out of heaven.
Dante's Inferno.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, the classic story of the devil falling from heaven,
right,
being cast out,
and that beautiful painting, like you said, where it's the angel stabbing the demon in the back as it's trying to kiss him, and that's on the cover of the Black Aria, and I just, that was, as much as I loved the Danzig metal stuff, I think that's another thing I loved about Danzig is like he put out something that was not metal. I checked it out simply because it was him.
Yeah.
And it expanded my tastes in music in general. Thank you, Glenn. You know what I mean? Like I was open to it simply because it was him. But at the same time, I cannot say, especially that first Black Aria, how much that album absolutely means to me. And how many people I've played it for who don't like Danzig or aren't even in metal. And they go, God, this is beautiful. What is this?
Yeah. Yeah. That one, I had liked it because I was into, again, thanks to the Misfits, into horror movie soundtracks.
Gotcha.
So it reminded me of like The Exorcist and the Omen soundtracks, which were very
Halloween is good, dude.
So
there's a Carpenter feel to that. Great point, dude.
It's just very keyboard driven, obviously, and there are some dated keyboards in that you can hear.
Yeah. But it fits.
It fits. It's also, if you listen to the whole thing, which is it's a short album.
Oh, very short. Unfortunately, right? I wish it was longer.
Yeah, I mean, he does release a part 2, maybe not as great.
Not as great, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah, same. But that first one, I think you need to enjoy the whole thing.
Oh,
because it's got movement in there.
There you go. Very much so. It's an album. It's not as short as it may be. It's an album.
Yeah,
it's start to finish because you do feel those movements as you're listening to it. Yeah.
Danzig as a band also pops up in a couple of other places. Actually, not even as a whole band, because at one point Eerie does step out.
Oh, okay.
And not necessarily entirely. He just didn't want to, I think, play the song.
Okay.
But this song ends up on a movie soundtrack. The movie being Less Than Zero.
Oh, right. Oh, yes.
where Danzig and the Power and Fury Orchestra, which was basically John, Chuck, and another, I think the producer or maybe the sound guy that was involved in that movie.
I used to know because
George Draculius,
yes.
I think. Yeah, right. He worked with Orgy afterwards.
Okay.
And he also was a engineer on later Danzig albums.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So they record You and I.
Yes.
Parentheses, Less Than Zero. A great fucking song.
Oh. And Guide's the song that Orbison sings on that, right?
Yes. Life Fades Away.
Yes. Yeah. Which is an amazing song. Orbison being one of his huge influences that he absolutely loved. Yeah. So that was really cool. That, you talk about, that's another one when you talk about the hunting down of, the collection of it all. I remember seeing Slayer did a signing for Diabolica Musica, the first one with Paul Bostoff. You know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, everybody's yelling at us right now, I'm sure, because they all know what we're talking about, and even this idiot doesn't. He's telling the story. But anyway, they were at the El Monte Tower Records, and my buddy and I went there to go get buy the new album. And the dude behind us was a huge Slayer fan, and because Slayer's on there doing In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
Yeah.
And the dude next to him was like, "Hey man, what's the soundtrack again?" The guy's like, "Dude, it's Less Than Zero soundtrack." And I just remember the whole night just in my head going, Less Than Zero, Less Than Zero, Less Than Zero, trying to remember. And dude, I hunted that thing down forever, and I finally found it.
Nice.
And I have, to this day, I will never get rid of it. Danzig, Slayer, Roy Orbison, that's all I need. I don't really need the Bangles and the rest of it. But, and if you watch the movie and you listen closely, you can hear it in the movie.
In the movie,
but I did not know. I guess I never looked closely enough. I thought it was, I was like, who's this Power Fury Orchestra? I've never heard of them, man.
Yeah.
But okay, interesting.
I also think it's one of his best Danzig songs.
Oh, I mean, his voice is magical.
His voice is fucking perfect.
It's so. I'm with you. I love that song. Yeah. He's just so good on it.
If he released a whole album of that type of music, where it's kind of it's almost like church influenced music.
Okay,
with the keyboard, the big keyboards in there and everything.
Well,
the big
maybe
sing-alongs at the end.
that
right?
early kind of Misfits that maybe he was, little Rhodes kind of electric piano thing kind of maybe is rearing a little bit. I mean, it's almost a croon the way he sings it.
Definitely.
It's, just
it's very southern.
Oh,
like
I love it. I love that song.
Of course, he works with Roy Orbison.
Yes.
Writing Life Fades Away for him. Not the only classic guy he wrote for, because he also then later wrote for Johnny Cash.
Yes, sir.
Famously, the song 13.
Yeah.
Which I believe Aaron has a tattoo.
Yes, I do.
On his,
yes, I do.
On his being.
It's on my ass.
I'll find that later.
No, I'll show it to you.
I'll find that now.
Yeah, no, and the tattoo for me is a culmination of my two favorite artists of all time.
Yeah.
And when I found out he had written a song for Johnny Cash, to me it was, worlds are colliding. I always knew he was probably a fan because you can hear it in his music. But it was just like, holy shit.
To have it confirmed like that.
Yeah, and it always comes around on the internet every time, Johnny Cash doing the storytellers thing.
Oh, yeah.
He brought in a guy and said, this is Mr. Glenn Danzig. He's like, hello there, Glenn. And I just, I wish I could have been there because I have a sense, as cool as Glenn probably wanted to play it, I don't think he could have. I bet you the same with Roy. I bet you there's a picture with him and Roy, and the smile on his face says everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's just these are heroes to him.
For sure.
And I think that's so neat, and he was so lucky that Johnny Cash had just gotten signed to American Recordings, and Glenn hadn't left yet, that those two could intersect, because he actually wrote a couple more that never got used. And that happened with, because as I said, I'm a huge Cash fan, so there were a lot of people who did that. You can find a lot of B-sides that people did right that he didn't record, that put out on other albums that came out as B-sides. But very cool to see him be able to see his heroes and be able to write for them.
To make his career go down that trajectory to work with them.
Yeah.
And as Aaron put it, Johnny Cash had just signed on to American.
Right.
Danzig was still on there, which is where his career with Rick Rubin kind of ends.
Yes.
After the fourth album, also maybe his most Samhain-like album of the Danzig albums.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely get the, obviously Can't Speak would be the one that most people will point at, taking, what is it, the song at the very end, right? They take the guitar and just, they backward mask it, right?
Basically played it backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, and added, a different kind of bass line along there. And
yes.
Yeah,
and I think you definitely I think some people were kind of thrown a little bit by that, and it was actually a single. Yeah, made a video for it.
Yeah. Sadistical is in there.
Yeah, that's right.
Son of the Morning Star.
Wow, another great one.
Brand New God, dude, which is my favorite one.
I love Danzig 4. That was my first Danzig record that I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? As I said, I got introduced to him through Danzig 3, so I can remember KNAC playing, I believe it was Brand New God.
Yeah.
Like premiere new Danzig. And it's like, oh my God, here we go. So, obviously I was very excited for that record. I very much love it. Has that great, by the way, that's another one. I owned the cassette at that time. I did not have CDs. A friend at my school was like, hey man, did you get the new Danzig? I said, fucking course. And he's like, dude, what about that Secret song, huh? I'm sorry, the what?
Yes.
So I had to go get this thing now, and I had just barely gotten into CDs at that time, and I'll never forget playing that thing out loud, and the thing opens up where it backwards masks his, whatever he says.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But in that moment, if you'd asked me, and by the way, I've listened to it a million times, and it does not sound like that ever again, but if you'd asked me in that moment, I swear to God, all I heard, Aaron, and I was like,
oh, yeah.
It scared the living shit. In that brief second, I thought every one of those Bible teachers is absolutely correct. I'm about to go to hell because you know what I mean? But I love the song because, again, so weird, so different.
The first time I heard that song, the Secret song, I also heard Aaron.
Well, then, okay, maybe I'm onto something. But, it's just, I love that. It's like a chant. It's a funeral dirge, and it's so different than anything. And again, touching on some of the Samhain, I agree. But it's just, again, man, I think it's so cool that he puts that on there. And, again, at this point in his career, too, this is peak. I mean, he's, I know he hates it and he regrets it, but he got, the Beavis and Butthead bump about
He
2
sure
years
did.
prior to
He
that
sure
with the
did.
Thrall Demon Sweat Live.
Yep.
You know, the Mother Live, which, by the way, still is the first thing most people are exposed to.
That's another thing I was gonna get to.
Please.
A few years before Danzig 4 was the re-release of Mother Live,
Right.
which, you know, famously he goes in and adds a little bit of studio work to it,
Yeah.
bumps it up with some more crowd interaction.
Called the Kiss Effect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Kiss Alive is Danzig Alive.
Yes.
Well,
Well, Thrall Demon Sweat's live.
well, exactly.
This is the Demon Sweat live.
Yeah, so he, you know, puts that out and then gets that big kind of commercial bump where
Yeah.
a whole new,
Oh.
you know, group of people are kind of opened up to him.
But to this day, that is the. By the way, I did catch a couple of those, which is women reacting to you get these people who hear songs for the first time.
Yeah.
So on the internet, that's a big sensation. I just watched that where it was 10 minutes of ladies hearing the song going and then the one part where he's standing there with his complete shirt off singing at the crowd
Yeah.
and watching all their eyes just go boing. You know what I mean? So I mean that was huge for him. I know he hates it. It became a buzz bin,
Yes.
the MTV buzz bin, the Beavis and Butthead bump that White
I had
Zombie
the
benefited
single
from.
of that.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
And it was, look, I bought Demon Sweat Live because it was a Danzig record.
Yeah,
I didn't,
same.
the Mother Live thing didn't, I wanted to hear the other stuff. Trouble and It's Coming Down, which
Coming Down.
I think is one of his most underrated songs. The
Well-
drums on that are fucking amazing.
The other of my absolute favorite songs
Mhm.
is Violet Fire.
Fantastic stuff. Well, all those songs on there, I absolutely love. That's another one too. As I am famously known to do, mispronounce everything. For a long time, I thought that was Demons We at Live. I thought, that makes sense. Demons We at Live.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it took a while
We
to
are at
realize.
live, actually.
Well, hey, we are. You can name your album anything, and then I realized one day I was like, oh, that's Sweat. Yeah, that's what that is. All right. Yeah. No. But yeah. No. I again.
And you know that the Demon Sweat Live is just the live version because the
Yes.
other is Thrall. It's the
Yes.
Thrall EP.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
With
eventually.
artwork by Simon Bisley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, dude, that cover is fucking insane, dude.
The kind of gladiator lady there, kind of about to kill the guy on the altar there.
It's
with the
so
big Danzig
sick. I have
cross.
that. I have the shirt of it too. That was one of those. It's not the original. It is a bootleg version. Sorry, Glenn. But that's another thing. Again, with his marketing, you got to give him credit with that.
Yeah.
His shirts, he never fucked around with, man.
Never.
I mean, now he fucks around because you should be doing fucking the old school shirts and especially some of his new artwork. We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
But it is definitely one of those things where you go. We have talked about it several times. All of our Danzig friends. The original Danzig shirt, the skull on front, the Danzig on the back.
Yep.
Why he doesn't keep putting that out every fucking 5 years, I have no fucking idea because everyone would buy one. Every single it was probably my greatest shirt I ever had.
Same.
I loved it, the way it fit, the way it did it. Now, of course, maybe those teeth would be a little sticking out a little bit more from my belly, but still, it just I love that shirt. Then you had the Demon Sweat, the Thrall Demon Sweat live shirt. You had and I bought this bootleg one too, the God Don't Like It shirt with the demon choking
I have that
Jesus
one. Yeah,
and the blood coming out of his eyes, which I remember hearing about on the VHS and being like, oh my God, where can I get that? The laminates that would have those pictures on it and everything else, and you just go like, the Danzig 4 had one of those great, another one, the take he had on, I don't want to say he, because I know somebody else did the artwork, where it's Danzig with his arms open, but it's the Danzig skull.
Oh, right.
Like-
where his arms outspread.
Or spread out, but it make his chest and arms make the Danzig skull.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
shit like that was just so amazing. In the Danzig 4, essentially it's the yin and yang of the white skull with the black skull.
Right.
Yeah. He never skimped on that shit, and I love that. Doing the stuff with H.R. Geiger on 3, you know what I mean?
Well, even because to that
Please,
effect,
please, though.
the H.R. Giger stuff,
Yeah.
it's used without permission,
Mhm,
right? Which got him in
mhm.
trouble,
Yep.
and it got him even more in trouble because of that video they put out.
Right.
And they made molds
Right.
of the artwork. But like you said, he didn't skimp out because he got Simon Bisley,
Yes.
who was already known in the comic book world. He's
Okay.
a comic book artist.
See, yeah, okay, this is, yeah, okay, good,
And
good.
Michael Wynn Kaluta,
Yes.
also a comic book artist.
Okay.
Also did covers for fantasy books and stuff like
Okay,
that. So
okay.
a lot of his books, a lot of his work
Mhm.
is amazing on its own.
I
But
gotcha.
then when you pair it up with fucking Danzig. It's like, goddamn. Again, my worlds are colliding.
It just fits, man. And then he also leaned into it. Obviously, if you got the early Danzig 2, it folded out into an upside down cross. Doing the Black Sabbath thing. Just all that, like every bit of it. They all wore black. They all wore black. It's just like
at one point, John Christ and Eerie Von, you were like inseparable, like the way they looked.
Oh yeah. Well, except one is thin and muscular, and the other one's giant and muscular.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like they all look. They. Weird. They all look like classic metal, which was like you clearly see they've done some push-ups, and they definitely are. Look at us.
Yeah.
We're manly men. You know what I mean? Not so much Man-O-War. There wasn't like furry thongs.
These
or anything,
guys had
but
pants on.
Yeah. Thank God. But it was just it was just very interesting in that way. Like there is. I'm a straight man. I'm just saying there is something very sexual about them.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean,
they're.
From the moment She Rides comes on,
I mean,
and you see the stripper's butt on screen,
And I did, although I always laugh because when the one starts dancing with Glenn, he can barely keep from laughing.
Oh yeah.
Here he is, big, scary, tough Glenn. I don't give a shit. And there's some hot chicks dancing with him, and he's getting this little shit-eating grin like he's 12 years old, like boobies.
Not to mention, in that video, you also see Danzig's Devilman.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Which one of those ones I did not know. I didn't know what that was. You know what I mean?
Devilman being a Japanese manga and anime as well, famously made by Go Nagai.
Yeah,
who's a great creator. He's done a bunch of other shit, but Devilman was one that Danzig took to the point of also releasing some Devilman comics out here.
Oh, okay. These are the things where I just didn't know what that was, but it was just so when she freaks out by seeing it, I thought, oh man, that must be something crazy. It's like it's just a comic book. She's like, oh god, he's a loser. Anyway,
oh, he's a dork.
Oh, he's a virgin. Anyway, no, I'm just totally fucking around. But that's something too. Like you give him credit when it came to music videos. She Rides, let's be honest, is classic metal video.
Classic metal.
Hot chicks dancing around. Yeah. But as he says, with the mother, to watch the original Mother music video now maybe doesn't do shit for anybody. I don't know.
Right.
But at that time, like the idea of a woman being tied to an altar and he is splitting a chicken and you see blood go on her belly and he makes an upside down cross in it. Like at the time, like my God, and God knows he revels in that shit, even to this day with some stupid shit. But, he talks about it on the video about, this is why we do the video. So, we don't get censored by MTV and, on and on.
Even on the second home video where he brings out the goat mask.
Yes. Oh.
And, he does basically the whole ritual wearing the goat mask.
Yes.
that looked very powerful,
dude.
right?
When he's up on the cross, with that, yes, that's like,
which
dude.
was another shirt.
Yes, yes, it is.
Another shirt.
I mean, it's just those. He was definitely his balance of music with imagery. You got to give him credit. He really knew what he was doing and how to market himself. And there was a real darkness to that attracts certain people like you and I. That I go, yeah, I want that. And if that's a fuck you to religion, if that's a fuck you to belief systems, I'm all for it. Let's go with that.
There was an idea that was posited by another person, so I'm not going to take full credit for this, but I do agree with this, in that Danzig saw himself as one of those King James types of writers, where it was, or maybe not even King James, it was very biblical type of writing, where it was grandiose, right? And you meant to kind of paint big pictures with very few words.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Another famous person who did this type of work is Cormac McCarthy.
Okay.
One of my favorite authors. If you read any of their work, be it Danzig's or McCarthy, it's a lot of religious overtones, but it's dark as hell.
I got you.
And
interesting.
Danzig,
I imagine he's a fan. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe next time we're watching the Danzig video when he's in his library. Take a look at the other titles in there.
We'll see if we can
see if Blood Meridian's not one of those books in there.
Wait a minute, he has an early copy of No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, exactly, right. So I always I liked that thought of him being like a big biblical type of lyricist, because a lot of these concepts aren't new to us at that point in time. This was already in the 90s when we're being introduced to stuff like death metal and black metal and
Sure,
whatnot,
sure.
you know?
Well, and but though I will say, especially early on at that point, death metal wasn't something I was necessarily into. Despite my pushback on religion and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I was still, it was so ingrained in me. Things scared the hell out of me. Like I said, hearing what I thought was my name,
Yeah.
you know. So, you know, there was only so much I would go down that you know, scared me. But his stuff always felt more grounded in a rebellion against it. You know, like Danzig 3 when he does the whole prayer thing. You know,
Yeah.
I gather here. Mother and what he says in that. You know what I mean? And things like God. Of course, I'm blanking on all the lyrics right now. But you lie to your kids about a Christian deity God. You know what I mean? And he says these things, and that struck me. It hit me. Like, oh wow, this isn't just like fuck you God. You know what I mean? Like he's really like pulling it out. And to his credit, he does know what he's read the Bible. He's looked these things. He has formulated at least
Footnote on that one.
please. He's at least formulated an opinion that in his mind has been educated by really looking into these things.
Right.
It's not just I just want to yell fuck you to the sky. You know what I mean?
Right.
And those things definitely struck me as a young kid. I mean, they for sure did, and I think that's why I was very much drawn to it in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
now, eventually he gets, as you say, the Danzig 1 through 4, classic
albums.
lineup, classic albums. I think they are unfuckwithable.
Yep.
4 may be the only one that maybe some people push back on.
Some people fuck with 4, like in that non-respectful way.
Yes.
But for me, it's still a part of the classic pantheon.
Absolutely.
So when you look at his career from the Misfits up until 4,
Yes.
it's what a fucking streak.
Oh my
right?
goodness.
Just
Yes.
classics after classics. After classics.
Yes. To do it in such a and all 3 be so different, and yet there is a through line. That's not easy to do. That's
Not at all.
It's just it shows you how creative he truly was, and again, along with band members that helped him create those things and bring those things into fruition. But just a hell of a creative guy who really had a vision and knew where he wanted to go.
And then we have another version of his creativity.
Well, this is when, again, he walks away from what I believe are some necessary gatekeepers that say, hey, man, no.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't think that works.
The 5th album,
Yeah.
Black Acid Evil or Black Acid Devil.
Yes.
Acid Devil, whichever one you want to use.
I always went with Devil, but then again, I'm the Demons We At Live guy, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, you know what? Either one works.
I always liked Black Acid Devil. That's what he says in the song, so I just
Yeah.
kind of always went with that. That was, well, we were both there.
Yeah.
We went to the first Ozfest.
Yeah.
He played, well,
Quote played.
yeah, play like 3 songs. Somebody took a swing at him and he said, good night, which was extremely disappointing for me because that was the first time I got to see him. But I remember him going, here's a new one, and thinking, holy shit, here we go. And then it's Sacrifice, and it was that, and I was like, wait a minute, what? Should we be dancing? What is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it threw me for a loop. I have it. I bought it twice, actually. I bought the...
Same. Yeah.
I obviously, as you hear, Nick and I, we love Danzig. So we're going to apologize for certain things. We just are. And you can call me an apologist if you want. I think there are a lot of really good ideas on Black Acid Devil. I think there are parts in it that are fantastic. I do like Sacrifice. I like a lot of the songs on there. The one he wrote for Johnny Cash that's on there, Silver and Blood.
Oh,
Silver and Gold? No, that's the cartoon one. But you know what I'm talking about. Come to Silver.
Come to Silver. Yeah,
Come to
Silver
Silver.
and Gold is by another band called the Samhain.
Well, that's that, and also I think isn't that the Christmas song? Silver and Gold, isn't that? Maybe not. Anyway.
You're the.
I'm the Christmas guy, yeah, but I don't really watch the claymation shit because I have taste. Anyway, no. All that is to say, that sounds like something he wrote for Johnny Cash, and his version of it even gives a Cash feel. So there are definitely some songs on there I like. I like that he wanted to experiment. I get it. You were hearing probably a lot of industrial, Nine Inch Nails, stuff like that was very popular at the time, and you thought, I'm going to take a swing at this. I just wish you would have brought in some guys that could have helped you take a better swing at that.
Same. I think he also wanted to capture the same type of attention that his musical comrades had. I agree with you with the Nine Inch Nails thing. I also think he might have done it in a way where he wasn't as informed as much of the process that they used to record their albums.
I think you have, yes.
Because a lot of those beats and music, it's I hate saying it.
No, please.
It's very generic.
It is.
And even like the videos he was putting out where he's crawling on the floor and all
Yeah,
that shit.
no,
Like,
the
what are
funny
you doing,
mask
dude?
that he
Yeah,
wears.
that mask
and,
and all that shit. It's like, which, again, he used masks before.
Oh,
in
absolutely.
Samhain,
Yeah. No, listen. Again, these are, it's tough when you get a guy, like, how do you tell him this doesn't work when he can point to this other stuff behind him and go, what do you mean I don't know what I'm doing?
Right. Yeah.
And I get
him
that.
being the person that he is.
Especially being the person he is.
Yeah.
He's not, outside influences aren't exact, the fact that, look, Chuck Biscuits leaves because he realizes, now, was it mainly his knees or was it also kind of the musical direction they were going?
I think musical direction, maybe arguments within the band.
He's the first to leave, right?
He's the first, and then
Then it's John and then Erie, right?
John and Erie. Actually, I think Chuck and Erie might have left at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which says a lot. Erie was with him for a really long time, man.
yeah.
So that says quite a bit, about what they may have endured or what they finally just had enough of,
There are video clips out there of Danzig 4 lineup, kind of.
Okay.
Where Erie does kind of drop a hint at, like, it's kind of tough to be in the band because they don't get a say in the songs,
Yeah, I know there's that one where he's being interviewed in England for a Headbangers Ball. The English lady, that one definitely sounds like you're hearing little bits and pieces of like, this is about to fall apart.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, and this is nothing against Chuck, but this is the one time where you go, wow, he really replaced Chuck, who's amazing, with another amazing drummer getting in that Joey Castillo.
Joey Castillo came in and basically tried his best Chuck Biscuits.
But he sounds tremendous on those records, and maybe the best thing he ever brought in post the classic lineup.
Yes. Chuck leaving and then Joey coming in. Joey also comes from the punk scene.
Yes. Goes on to be in Queens of the Stone Age for those.
But also, right after Danzig, I just forgot the fucking band.
Oh, my bad.
No, I just had.
I thought it was Queens after Danzig.
I think you might be right, actually.
That's what I.
Oh yeah, because
I remember
Chuck goes into Social Distortion.
Oh, is that?
Danzig.
Oh,
yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Well. Before you say that,
okay, I'm sorry.
I don't like Social Distortion,
Yeah,
but the album he's on, sounds like a good rock and roll record.
All right. I mean,
just boring ass rock and roll.
Chuck, you do your thing. You've earned it.
He got paid and he got to wear that stupid goofy hat.
Yeah, you can do whatever you like.
Yeah.
Well, I also think it's interesting that you look at the Danzig 4. Remember, inside cover is all 4 of them in caskets.
Which, remember the thing you said about them not being so political?
Yes.
That's Bill Clinton.
That's right. Oh, you're right.
That is Bill Clinton.
That's right. Son of a bitch. Been a long time since I've looked into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And again, with Danzig, again, Can't Speak is obviously a political statement.
Yeah. Well, he also has a Son of the Morning Star, and then he has another questionable song on there that gets left out, which we're going to round back at the end of all this. He has his statements in the song.
Oh,
Mother
for sure.
itself is also
look, if he's pushing, whether he's pushing back at the PMRC, whether he's pushing back a religion, whether he's, I mean, there's politics involved. It's just to say it's not. You could listen to it and think it's all fantasy and stuff like that, and not realize, no, there's deeper meaning to all this. So,
it's not as in your face.
No.
It's not as obvious.
No,
it's covered in all of the grandiose, Danzig stuff that you come to expect. But I do think throughout Samhain, there were statements made.
Oh,
he was
yes. His music was not just Final Fantasy shit. Like, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Now with and back to Danzig 5. I think you are absolutely correct in a lot of ways, and that's why I think with 6, I think he got it right a lot more than what he did on 5. I really like Danzig 6 way more than Danzig 5, to say the least. I don't think that's saying a whole hell of a lot. But I think it's like that mix of what Danzig gives you with the electronic stuff that he was clearly into at that time. I think he figured it out. And it may be one of those things where, unfortunately, we got the transition record when we should have just skipped that one and gone right to the Danzig 6 one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a shame in that way because, look, I know plenty of people who are like, once it's after 4, I'm done.
Yeah.
I've never even listened to another record of his. You know, 5 was that divisive of an album. It really, truly was.
It sure was, yeah.
Like, it was a dividing line for many, many people.
I mean, I went to the shows and I bought the T-shirt of the cover.
Sure.
That's how much I was just into Danzig.
Oh, yeah.
But then I never wore the shirt. You know?
I
was like, yo, fucking...
Look, I'm one of those ones where, again, I love Danzig, so yeah, if you're going to ask me, I'll tell you I do love those albums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, Danzig 5 and 6 are the anomalies. They're these weirdo records in his catalog.
Yeah.
Because once we get to 7, now you're going back to, it's not the classic sound in any way, shape, or form.
It's an attempt to come back to a rock-based sound.
Yes,
right?
but the production is just, what do we, and now, again, some amazing songs on there.
Yes.
There are 3 or 4 songs that I would say could be even seen somewhat classic.
Yeah.
You know, but the production, it was just, and the worst part to me was whoever was doing the production on his voice, of all things.
Now I know might have been Glenn himself.
Well, and I know there's talk of perhaps the voice was leaving him at this point. Maybe it wasn't as good as it may have been, but it just seemed like it would be like employing Eddie Van Halen and then burying his guitar in the mix. Like, what? The whole point of this band is this guy's vocals, and you're going to bury them.
They actually did do that. Was it on 6 where Home Slice from
no, that's 5.
5.
Yeah. His Hand of Doom, which you're like, oh, Black Sabbath cover, and then you listen to it and go, I'm sorry, what song is this?
Yeah,
exactly. Which is, again, I love when bands put their own twist on a cover, but this was like,
you twisted it and then made it something else.
Well, put a twist of cane in it because, you know what I mean? It's also like, and you're right. Then you go get Jerry Cantrell, one of the 90s greatest guitar players, and I can't even tell he's on the fucking album. Yep. But don't worry, because we're going to get Tommy Victor, and you'll know he's on every goddamn song.
You'll know Tommy Victor is on everything because of all of the pinch harmonics, which...
He gets paid by him.
He gets paid by every pinch harmonic, so he got paid a plenty.
And look, I will say, I do think Tommy Victor is a very good guitar player.
Oh, yeah, he
suits him fine. I do. The pinch harmonic thing, it's a signature. I get it. I'm not big on him, but whatever.
You said this, one of the first times we talked about Danzig was he's not doing them unless Danzig's telling him to keep them in there, right?
Yeah, so obviously, right?
So he's
not bothered by them.
Yeah.
Danzig's like, give me more, baby. Pinch away.
Yeah. I'll give you $5 more for that.
Yeah. But and then Danzig 7 I thought was more of a return. I did like that one a lot. Next is what? Snakes.
Circle of Snakes.
Circle of Snakes, which
even more of a comeback, but I also think a lot of the songwriting is not there.
Oh no. Right? And then the worst part about it is now we got to sit through Skin Carver every goddamn time he does a show.
Fucking time.
Which is easily the worst song on that whole album.
Yeah. And it's the start of the album.
Yeah. And it's just not. I get it. Maybe he wants to start with some energy, but it's just like, it's almost like his Jar Jar Binks, where he's just like, look, I know you don't like these albums, and this one maybe in particular, but you're gonna get it. I'm gonna make you taste it every time.
Yeah.
The next one that comes after that is that's where he lost me. After that one, I did pick up Dead. Well, help me out on this one.
All right. Death Red Sabaoth. Yeah.
I very much like that one.
Okay.
That to me was the return of a Danzig that I recognize from the first 4 albums.
Okay.
Are there silly things in it like Juju Bone?
Yeah.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
Black Candy, so on and so
Candy,
forth.
Yep.
Yes. But I did enjoy that album very much. And again, one of those ones where he actually did some cool stuff with it. You could get, and I do have it, you can buy a limited version of it with came with the 7-inch, and it came with an urn.
Yeah.
And I have that. Very cool that he kind of getting back to that artwork thing. In the meantime, also Black Aria 2 gets released.
Black Aria 2 with a great cover.
Yeah.
Anytime a nun is added with skulls and big boobs, I'm
in.
Sign me up.
Absolutely. Hit me with that ruler, baby. But yeah, he's doing quite a bit at this time. But that's where the album he lost me. Like I think the last one was I can't even Black Laden something or other.
Black Laden Crown.
Yeah, no, that didn't. The first song I heard, The Devil's Highway, or what, I was like, we're done.
That's a horrible song.
Yeah,
that album and Death Red Sabaoth have tinges of things that would work greatly for me as a
I feel-
long-time Danzig
Yeah.
fan. But he just doesn't do him enough.
I hear you.
You
No,
know?
I 100%. Those feel like almost like, Danzig or Metallica doing Death Magnetic, almost like was like, oh, this is the sound you
Yeah,
want me to do?
yeah.
Okay, I'll try it. And it's like, well, you can't return home sometimes.
There were parts in those albums, and each one of those where
Mhm.
he could have done something that sounded almost doom metal-y,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the production on the just the music itself
Yes.
is heavy.
Yes.
It's really
Yes.
heavy, and for some reason he just didn't keep it up
No.
enough
No.
to last an entire album.
No.
So
And it's a shame.
Yeah.
Then we go with the Skeletons, which
Skeletons, which was
I've still never listened to it to this day. I've heard good and bad. I've heard some people who will stand for it a little bit. Others, who will tell you the production is so fucking awful it's not worth listening to. I personally have not heard it. Have you?
I have.
Okay.
There are some songs that are good.
Okay.
Cold Rain is on there.
Okay.
I think Buick McCain has covered that.
Okay.
He does a song based on the theme song for like a biker movie
Okay.
on there, which I think is fucking great.
Okay.
And it sounds almost Misfits-y.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like sing along. It's like really quick. It's
Okay.
kind of punkish, but that guitar is just fuzzed out like hell. But all in all, Skeletons is not a good collection of songs.
I can't. It's kind of like the live album. I hear it sounds like shit, so I never bothered.
The second live album.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. The left hand, live on the left hand. Yeah,
path.
I hear that one's not very good.
not.
One that I have it. Was when they put out the Danzig B-sides. What was that called? Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
I'm totally spacing. But tons of great stuff. I have the single.
Oh, that's the one that Cold Rain is on.
Yes.
Sorry.
That also, I had the single for When Death Had No Name, but I'm glad
That's
that
right.
got a wider release.
Yes, I
Because
wish
I think-
that had made it to an album.
Dude, I think that is a underrated song. I don't know why it never made it. I just
Yeah.
remember hearing it on the video and going, oh, where do I get this?
Yeah, yeah.
I eventually got the single that had it on there. So, I do have it. Found that at Best Buy. That was another one of those, yay, look at
Nice.
me. But, I loved that whole Danzig. It's like 2 CDs. You get all this fucking cool artwork.
Yeah, yeah.
The lyrics, and then the stories behind each of the songs. Some stuff were really, really good. Other stuff, not as good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then his last one.
The last one
is
is
the Elvis one, right?
Elvis. Danzig sings Elvis, where he chooses all of the Elvis songs he didn't have to pay an arm and a leg for.
Which he would tell you too. Let's be honest. I'm picking the ones that meant the most to me, and I don't want to pick the obvious ones. I get
Which
it.
is
I-
what, again, the story we're told.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
And look, this feels like one of those projects that we go, this is everything I've ever wanted. I just didn't want it now.
Right. Well, especially with that production.
Well, and his voice probably wasn't at its strongest. Imagine
Yes,
if he had
yeah.
recorded this around the Less Than Zero soundtrack.
Forget about it.
This album
been
would
the
be
greatest-
legendary.
It would be legendary status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it. There are moments that I do like. I have heard as of right now, as we're recording this, he's already done more than a few live shows of
Yeah.
doing the Elvis stuff.
Yeah.
I hear it sounds fantastic. He's doing a really good
I
job with
actually
it.
went to one of them.
Did
I
you?
went
Okay.
to a Valentine's Day one. Yeah.
I hear he can pull it off now, and that's great to know.
Sounds amazing.
That's good to know.
So
But I just think, man, it was such an exciting thing to hear was going to happen. It just, when it did, you went, ugh. And then you listen to it and you go, oh, fuck, again, somebody with this fucking producer, man. Like, come on, dude. Somebody get in there and tell him stop it.
And I get it. He maybe wanted to recreate some feel for the original, like the mono production.
Yes. But there are ways to do that also. And that's not how.
But also, you're not known for that.
That's an excellent point. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
You're not known for doing mono recordings. You're known for doing horrible recordings, and we got that. Right. So
yeah.
like, you could have put a little bit more effort.
Well, and again, this is, and I think this all culminates in one of the things we're trying to say in some of this is sometimes when left to his own devices, he is his own worst enemy in what these records sound like and some of the stuff that comes out on them.
So that shall be the
Please.
catalyst for the next part of our
Yes.
conversation. Danzig's left to his own devices.
Yes.
When he does not have a person who might, again, Danzig might have the dream,
Right.
but he needs the storyteller of the dream, or at least the person saying these are the parameters of the dream.
Yeah, or
And
hopefully just no.
or just exactly.
Yeah, or just go, I think if we did it this way, it would be better. Oh, you're right. That is better. You know what I mean? Like, as a team.
Tommy Victor, also known as Tommy Prong,
Mm-hmm.
comes from the band Prong.
Mm-hmm.
Also played in Ministry and recorded a bunch of albums with them.
Yeah.
Is a great guitarist.
Oh, absolutely.
But if there were another person in there saying, "Hey, man, knock it out with some of these pinched harmonics,
right.
and maybe do a little bit of this or
Right.
a little bit of that," I'm pretty sure we would have had some better sounding albums as far as 7, 8, and everything else.
Well, look,
Right.
it just occurred to me kind of thing, too, is be careful what you wish for, right? The whole idea of calling it Danzig was so
Yeah.
that you can have a revolving door
Yeah.
and you never have to change the name. Well, good luck with that.
Good luck. Yeah.
Now you have, let's be honest, and I will say, Johnny Kelly is a fantastic drummer. Loved him in Typo. I think he's a fantastic drummer. He's perfect for Danzig.
No longer in Danzig.
Okay, not surprised. Anyway, Tommy Victor, again, a fantastic guitar player. Still with Danzig. I believe the
Still
bass
with
player is
Danzig.
still...
Steve Zing.
Okay. His bass playing is kind of neither here nor there for me. I don't...
I will tell
I-
you this.
he's good.
It's as good as Eerie Vaughn's
Okay,
was.
let's go with that. Okay.
Because Eerie Vaughn, if you told me, "Hey, that's an Eerie Vaughn bass line,"
I
I'm,
gotcha.
okay, well, because I don't hear it.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
okay. Fair. Totally fair. The guy's holding it down.
Yeah.
So in that sense, he's gotten exactly what he wanted.
Yeah.
These
yeah.
are your hired guns.
Yep.
They come in and play the things you want them to play.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they can have a little leeway on how they do this, that, or the other.
Sure.
But otherwise, this is just what they're going to do.
Don't
okay.
distract from
Right.
the main thing, which
Yeah.
is the guy in
Right.
front.
Right.
Right.
He may very well be now saying, nope, more of that. I need a little bit of that.
I would
Do
hope
that.
so. I would hope so.
Yeah. And unfortunately, there may not be anybody, some would say, and I think there is something to say, he's earned the right. Look, he's made it this long. You get to tell people how you want your artwork to be, how you want your shit to be, how you want your sound to be, how you want your... Great. Well, unfortunately, this is why outside influences can be good sometimes.
Mhm.
You can be so myopic in your vision
Yeah.
that you're realizing you're leaving things behind. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
this is what's hurt those latter albums very much so. And
Yeah, I agree.
and it's a shame because you're right. When you look from the Misfits creation all the way to Danzig 4, now, let's be honest, who wouldn't kill to have that career? Just that.
Just
right?
that. Yeah.
You
sure.
know, but to see what was capable and what has come later is really, it's kind of sad in a way.
It
know?
is because it's, again, he built up such a persona.
Mm.
And then when at one time the music isn't delivering what the persona is promising, that's like, okay, well, I can't take you as seriously as I used to.
Well,
you know?
yeah, and then you get into things like, look, we've seen him live several times in the last probably 10 years, and then it's these, look, mistrust of the government, I got no problem with that. I
Sure.
got my own problems. But it's also the mainstream medias and the vaccines and you're like, oh, God. Which, again, look, he is welcome to have those opinions. That's
Sure.
but I didn't come to the Danzig show to hear you yell about vaccines, bro. Like, come on, man.
You can't, and here's
And
another
always
thing.
trying to play the bad guy. And remember those show we went to Santa Ana and they wanted to shut him down at midnight. And he's like, fuck you. I'm going to do what I
Yeah.
want to do. And, okay, look, man, look. They got ordinances. What are you going to do,
Yeah,
dude?
exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And, I remember going to a signing of his and immediately. Now, again, this is my theory, but they immediately came out and they're like, listen, everybody, no questions, no picture taking. You go up, you hand him the thing, you can talk for a little bit. Once he's done signing, you need to leave. And, as soon as I got inside and I could see people, almost every single person, think I could just, and the security guard would be like, dude, no, and Dan's will go, it's cool.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like
yeah.
almost like you're like, well, you set that all up so you always look like the bad guy. He goes,
Yeah.
it's cool. Let them get their picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like these little interesting things that he does. And, let's not even we haven't even touched on getting knocked out by the guy.
That's
all
what we were
these-
about to get into.
The ego bullshit of it all.
The ego that he presented,
Yes.
Danzig
Please.
famously is all of 5'3",
Yeah.
5'4". And his ego casts a shadow
Yeah.
much, much taller than he does.
Oh, God, yeah.
In Arizona, in the early 2000s,
Mhm.
he was playing a festival with another Arizona band called the North Side Kings. where I mean the whole video is on YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
still,
yeah, no,
right?
it's-
So I'm not gonna dissect it now.
It's almost as famous as his great 4 albums. So
Exactly. Yeah.
actually more famous than his last album.
More famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Danzig famously went and told everybody in the world that he was a Jeet Kune Do practitioner.
Right.
And that one of his, actually his instructor was one of Bruce Lee's core students.
Right.
A great story.
Sure.
Because there's even footage of him supposedly going through some of the moves.
Mhm.
And if you've ever seen any picture of Danzig, you can tell that he is a very muscular
Oh, yeah.
individual. Again,
He's
upper
lifting
body,
weight.
upper body,
Yeah.
nothing but arms. He also one time put out his exercise regimen, and it's literally all arms.
Is it
Right,
interesting?
all arms.
You know.
Anyway, so after this show, there is a bit of a confrontation with the vocalist of the Northside Kings. His name is Danny Marinello. Basically kind of giving shit to Danzig. I don't think he should have been confronting Danzig. He should be confronting whoever the stage manager is.
Because ultimately, if I remember correctly, it was Danzig was asking for more time, which cut short other bands. Correct? Is that
Danzig wanted to play a certain time slot,
okay?
which
Cut into other bands.
cut other bands
Okay.
off. Yeah. And so
And being the bigger name,
Being
they
the bigger
wanted to
name.
go with it.
yeah, and whether you think this is a staged, as in like they knew they were going to go up and confront Danzig.
Yeah.
I'm neither here nor there.
Yeah, no.
But at one point, Danzig does push Danny Marinello first.
Yeah.
And Danny Marinello, if you haven't seen the video, let me tell you. Again, Danzig is all of 5.
Yeah.
Let's say 5'4",
Yeah.
just to be gracious.
He's got the boots on. I'm sure he's
the
5'5".
big elevator things, platforms. Danny Marinello is probably 800 pounds.
Yeah. He's a big boy.
Looks like a big ass hairless gorilla.
Yeah.
And gives the most telegraphed
Oh, yeah.
roundhouse of a
Yeah.
punch.
Like, I could yell punch, and it wouldn't take as long as that punch took to throw.
I could see that punch coming.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Stevie Wonder, literally.
Stevie
yeah.
Wonder and I could see that. We were both duck.
Stevie Wonder yelled, "Duck!
Yeah.
Duck, Danzig!" Yeah.
Yeah, and Danzig gets knocked down.
Oh,
So he doesn't get knocked out, but he gets knocked down.
Big
Because
time.
he does stand up.
Yeah.
Right? So this went online real quick.
Oh, yes.
And, it basically broke. I think it was one of the first times people saw this person who had built his entire legacy.
yeah.
You know,
yes.
of like, I'm the macho,
Oh, yeah.
fucking buff, sexual
Yeah.
Tyrannosaurus of the beast,
Which I think that song is on Death the Red Label. I think
Yeah, it's one of those.
Sexual
It's
Tyrannosaurus. Yeah.
one of the B-sides. Yeah. So, it broke that image.
Yeah. Oh, very
Right.
much so. Very much so.
Because, again, we've always known Danzig to be confrontational.
Oh, for
Even
sure.
at Misfits
Oh,
shows, like
God,
he would
yes.
jump off of stage
Oh,
and shit
yeah.
like this, right? But now he's the one on the receiving end.
Yeah. Well,
Right? And he's also the one that kind of started it. So,
Well, look, certainly when it happened, it was like watching your hero and realizing, oh, they're mortal.
right.
But I also think to myself, I would say this to anyone in life, period. If you're going to put your hands on a person, you need to prepare yourself to defend yourself.
Definitely. Yeah.
I do think he really believed his ego was such that there's no way this guy will hit me.
Right.
And he was wrong.
Yeah,
And I, as upsetting as it was, and the boo-hoo-hoo, my hero got knocked down kind of thing, in the end, you go, well, motherfucker, you pushed him.
You were the one that pushed him.
Like, if you had just kept your fucking hands to yourself, maybe none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
And by the way, Jeet Kune Do nothing. Because how did you not see that punch? And even
don't.
Yeah,
block a punch.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Lee is sitting up in heaven going, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You just lost the belt, pal."
Well, I did notice that after that, he stopped saying he was into Jeet
Well,
Kune Do,
again,
you
this
know,
is
so-
and it's like, did you show up to a few lessons? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
and again, like you said, that was the first that you started to go like, and again, I think that's age, that's everything. It's like, look, we do build these. He looked like an action hero. He looked like an
Sure,
action figure,
Yep.
And when I'm younger, and the things he's saying and the way he's saying
Big
it,
ass buckle with the Danzig skull.
and his message, I'm looking up to that. I'm thinking that's a guy saying the things I couldn't articulate, but he's articulating them. Yes, awesome.
Yeah.
On and on and on. But it is this reminder: they're all human beings, and unfortunately, he's kind of a shitty human being in a lot of ways.
That started coming out more.
And again, it is one of those things like as I always say, yes, of course, every time I've ever met him, and by meeting him means going to like a meet and greet,
Right.
he has been nothing but nice to me and everyone that's come through the line.
Yeah.
He's excited to see you. He smiles. He says, how you doing? You go see him live, for the most part, he's excited to see everybody. He's having a great time, on and on and on. But it seems like backstage, he can be a real prick. And, he wants his way.
Not just backstage, because this does come into play. We kind of mentioned it a bit with paying some of his former bandmates for royalties.
Yes.
Famously, he has not re-released Samhain stuff because, he just doesn't.
Right.
It's
just crazy.
He just doesn't. He, according to him and the camp involved with his whole whatever, there's no money to be made in Samhain.
Jesus Christ.
Which, again,
Well, I would hope, and I know this will not change anything, although, then again, we never thought the Misfits would reunite.
This is true.
I hope he is seeing the sales and the excitement of the first 4 Danzig records that just got re-released on record, and that should tell him, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
I have a theory about
would
that.
Sell out in no time.
I have a theory about those first 4. I don't think it's him making any money off of it.
He may not. What I'm saying is if he's saying, I don't think there's any money to be made in Samhain, I hope you're seeing how much money they're making off your first 4 fucking Danzig records that they just re-released.
Those things are
flying off the shelf, and you could be doing the same thing with the Samhain thing. I don't quote him very
proper Samhain box set.
Neil Jameson has been screaming about it for years. If he and he's absolutely right. If he put those things back out on vinyl, he could. Even if he did a limited, fine. Do Misfits style limited shit. 1,000 pink, 1,000 yellow, 1,000 black. Fine. They would sell out in no time. No time, dude. Yeah. So, again, his business decisions as we, look, let's be honest. Early on, we're younger. We don't care about these things. We don't have ways of learning about these things or knowing about these things. We hear the legend gets printed. That becomes fact. Period. End of story.
Right.
As we get older, as the internet has allowed us to get closer to these people, as people are able to actually get their voice out, because who the hell was interviewing Manny Martinez? Who gave a shit?
Right.
Well, now everybody gives a shit because the Misfits are a legendary band.
Yeah.
So, these things now get exposed, and he's being exposed.
He's being exposed. Not the best businessman, because
not always.
For the longest time, he couldn't perform.
Yeah.
Or actually, not perform, but the name
voice
of the Misfits
I got you.
was being held up in court because Jerry only took him to court. Famously, there was this big debate. They did not get along for the longest. At one point, Jerry won the permission to perform as the Misfits.
Right.
And kind of commercialize the Misfits more, which is why we have all of the Misfits swag that's all around. But to Jerry's credit, he also kept their name in conversation.
Absolutely.
Like, there's nobody else who's a die-hard fan of that band aside from Jerry.
No, you're right. Yeah, he is the Fiend Club member number 1.
Number 1. Yeah. 001 is what his badge is.
That's a great point. And you're right. That's a great point about keeping them in the zeitgeist. Because the reality is while many of those records, though you and I both agree, we like the Graves records. Now, the other stuff, not so much when he goes solo. But that's fine. But the idea that he was still playing live, that he was pulling the Misfits out there when he was able to do that, and he could profit off of it, why shouldn't he? And you're right. How many kids went to go see a Misfits show with Michael Graves or otherwise because they couldn't see it any other way? But they were still loving the old Misfits stuff too, because you're right. Honestly, you can't find Danzig talking about it unless somebody questions him. Yeah. He won't come out with it. You have to ask him about it.
Honestly, that's what those original reunion shows for the Misfits were for me. It was a chance to go see Jerry and Doyle looking the way they did on the cover of Walk Among Us. Playing these songs.
Yeah.
Right? So, again, he doesn't play his former bandmates, and this includes not just Misfits, but Samhain and Danzig as well. He famously cannot hold a steady lineup down in Danzig because people keep coming and going, aside from Tommy Victor and Steve Zing.
Yeah.
Johnny Kelly does exit the band at one point and joins Quiet Riot, whom he is still performing with. And then we have all the embarrassing pictures of Danzig that come out. The cat litter picture, the chocolate cake picture.
The cat litter one to me is like I don't know, man. Like, the man buys cat. Like, he goes to the store. Yeah, he's a human being. He's not a bat. I don't know.
But that's the thing. We're sold an image
you're not wrong.
of a dude who lives in a castle.
Well, and then it's like, you say that, and you're 100% correct. But it is this weird thing where you go, how does he have, at sometimes, all the awareness in the world of who he is, and then other times not? Like, why is it that that great comic Henry and Glenn?
Oh yes,
So fantastic.
Yeah.
And the best part about it, in my opinion, is the blurb that Rollins puts on it.
Yeah.
I love this, but have you shown Glenn? Because he's gonna fucking hate it.
Yeah.
You know, and for those who don't know, Henry and Glenn is the idea that Henry Rollins and Glenn Danzig are a gay couple that live together.
Yeah.
That's what the whole comic's about.
I think put together by artist Tom Neely.
I hope you're right, because yes, I'd like to give that man credit. I don't know who did it, but it's a funny premise. You know, these two manly punk rock icons. The idea that they would be gay and live together and are like a couple. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And the idea that Henry, who is his friend by the way,
They are
totally
friends,
understands that I think this is hilarious and Glenn's gonna fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, Glenn will also go and do Portlandia, where he is kind of taking the piss out of himself a little bit. The idea that these Dracula goths show up to the beach.
Yeah.
And you go, so which one is it, Glenn?
He does it twice, actually. He does it in Portlandia and Aqua Teen.
Was that okay? He did that, right? That wasn't
was his
okay.
voice,
I wasn't
yeah.
sure about that one. I knew of it. I just wasn't sure if that was actually him. Okay, so yeah, it's like, so you do have a sense of humor about yourself to some degree.
Yeah.
But there are just certain lines you can't, you know, and that stuff is just so.
There's this quote that I think I said it today already before we started recording, but it's been coming back so much. Self-awareness will avail you nothing.
Yeah.
Which is, you're the one that gave us this story.
Right.
So why are you mad?
Right. That we want.
You're the one breaking the facade.
Well, and to that, another one that always comes to mind, for those who do not know, Decibel Magazine. Decibel Magazine does Hall of Fame.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
One year they did we always get questions about certain albums. How come they haven't been put in the Hall of Fame?
Right.
So they picked like the top 20 and they wrote little articles about why we can't do these ones. So they have their own parameters that keep certain ones out of there. So I think some of it all the members have to be alive, I think is maybe one of them.
Okay.
So Danzig 1 was on there. And I thought, why isn't Danzig 1? Well, they said two things. One, they would have, number one, overall, they'd have to interview Danzig, and that doesn't always go well.
Right.
Number two, their feeling is they're going to talk to Danzig. They got to talk about the whole thing, which is also saying stuff like, that skull, that's not you.
That's not yours.
The Misfits, Crimson Ghost, that's not you.
Not yours. Yeah.
Then they would also have to point out the lyrics to Hunter, which... Talk about one of those, because of how we get into these things. The first time I heard it was from Danzig.
Yeah.
Then I remember sitting in my friend's dad's car while he's listening to Led Zeppelin, and all of a sudden I hear fucking, what's his name from Zeppelin going, "They call me the Hunter." And I'm like, hey, wait a minute.
When did Led Zeppelin cover Danzig?
Yeah, exactly. Like, how is that? Am I in a time warp? Now, of course, no surprise, Led Zeppelin stole that too. But anyway, it's just the part where they realize they're going to have to ask him about this.
Right.
And he is not going to be happy about that.
Not at all.
And by the way, that song is not credited to the blues guy who wrote it or Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Even if it's just the lyrics.
Yep.
So it's this thing where you're just like, why are you pretending something that you, by the way, I was bold enough for Led Zeppelin to do it, but then you go and steal from Led Zeppelin and think no one's going to notice? Like, come on, dude. And it's just like, again, these ability to make such great decisions in certain places and just horrible ones in the other. It's just astounding to me with this guy.
And I think it's because we live in a modern age, access to information, access to the people behind the scenes of this information. A lot of more embarrassing things will come out eventually anyway, right?
Yeah,
especially if you've tried that hard to not have them be out there.
Well, and if you continue to mythologize yourself in these outrageous ways that can't be, like, sorry, Glenn, there's a reason you don't take your shirt off anymore, and I get it.
Yeah,
you're almost 70 years old. You're still in better shape than I am, but I get it. Yeah. Like, by the way, that's what time's going to do to you in a lot of ways. So why don't you just be who you are and stop this mythology bullshit?
I think we've done enough glazing of Glenn. Glennard, as I like to call him. We all saw the bald spot in the Devil's Plaything video, right? Like, we all saw that.
Yes.
Like,
Like, time is not going to be kind to you, dude. At some point, you're going to, I mean, again, He's so full of himself.
Yeah,
and I get it. Look, a guy owns a mirror at a certain time. I imagine.
Oh, I'm sure he's owned several.
I'm sure, yeah, well, it's just to say, like, I think this is where you can see success sometimes can ruin a person. He knew he was right about certain things, and he watched it happen with certain bands. Sure. I imagine what is going on now with the Misfits and the reunion tours and everything else. By all means, good for them. Get your money. I'm so excited for you. You deserve every bit of it. And I imagine there's a part of them that feels like, yeah, we do. I knew we were doing great shit back then. I knew we were. I knew it would connect with people. Maybe we were ahead of our time. I don't know. But either way. But it is also this part where it's just like you've had so much that your head's gotten so fucking big, you're unwilling to listen to anybody who could really help you, you know?
Yep.
Like, it's ironic that you started with the guy who resurrected all these careers and now you'll never go back to him, right?
Yeah.
Like if he had been on any other label, how many people would be like, who he needs? Rick Rubin. Right? Like, Rick would go, man, if I could just get you in a room with an acoustic guitar, right? And it's just like, no, that's never going to happen now.
Rick Rubin's going to be like, do that again, but better.
Right,
I'll be back.
Right. Well, there's also that. Don't get me wrong. But it's just to say, you know what I mean? Like, look what he did for Johnny Cash and Glenn Campbell and all these other people. You know what I mean? To some degree. Although some of that's a little... whatever. But it is what it is. But the Cash thing, it's more about both of them had the same idea at the same time and found each other, which is great. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad that Johnny Cash got that second career. It's just to say, boy, it'd be nice if Danzig had it, but the guy who could do it for him the best is the guy he's already told to go fuck himself. Yeah. And it's just like he won't. And by the way, he strikes me as a guy I will sooner lose with my ideas than win with yours.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I think we're seeing that. And it's like I said, it's a shame. I'm glad we have, and we are, let's be honest, # overly blessed with a bunch of Misfits, Samhain, and Danzig albums.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is like, you just go like, I think it's hard to keep that up no matter who you are.
Yeah.
But boy, did he fall off.
I agree with the overly blessed. And I think having a lot of that to look back on is really good.
Yeah.
Because it lets us know that firstly, it's good music.
Yeah.
So we weren't wrong in being fans of this stuff. Right? Like it's great.
It's nice to be validated.
Of course, right? Like, oh yeah, Danzig.
We were right.
Great fucking.
No. Yes.
But of course, there are things that maybe some things could be looked at a little bit differently with our retrospective 2020 vision that
no doubt
that we're going to now put on those glasses for. Danzig, not a person to shy away from expressing his ideas. And as we mentioned right before, he did at some of these shows within the last decade or so start kind of becoming the weird boomer, like like, oh fucking, I am so anti-woke that this and this and that. Right?
Oh, they couldn't put out Last Caress now, but you're about to sing it.
Yeah, you're about to sing it in a world where like
there's deicide, there's black metal, dude. Calm
black
down.
Metal.
Stop it.
People have killed other people who burnt churches.
Right.
Like,
dude,
come on,
like
man.
rappers are getting murdered on the street, dude.
Rappers every fucking year.
Stop it.
Beef with somebody else.
Like,
right?
I get it. Your song, like, don't get me wrong. I still think people still hear Last Caress and go, whoa. You know what I mean?
Of
But
course.
You know what I mean? But nobody goes like, whoa, Jesus, you couldn't do it. No, you couldn't. You did it then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course you could do it now.
Yeah,
Shut up.
course,
Stop it.
course.
Stop being this edgelord. That's a lot of it, right? He thinks it's part of that.
That's what it
He
is.
thinks it makes him cooler to be this. Look, coming out of punk and hating all things that were prior to that, I get it. I hate Journey. I hate fucking Boston.
I hate disco.
Absolutely. So I'm going to be a fucking punk that rages against those things. I get that. The rebellion is what is the beauty of punk. And being rebellious against these things, I'm all for it. But at some point, you're just being like, give me something to rebel against. And it's just like, calm the fuck down. You're almost 70.
Contrarian.
Yes.
Lifelong contrarian. And I also, you said it perfectly right now, he is an edgelord.
Yes.
There is actually, I'm sure this is true of every music scene. There are factions of people who will, till the day they die, will be just edgelords.
Yes.
They'll try to kind of dance along the fine line of like, this is controversial, but I'm not going to give them the whole thing because I don't want to be the thing that they're going to blame me for being.
Right.
And I think this started way back in the Misfits.
Oh, for sure.
Famously, the poster for Bullet
oh God, yes.
has JFK's head kind of splattered, which, we all look back. I had the shirt.
Sure.
It's like on the back it said "Better Dead Than Red."
Yeah.
Better Dead Than Red was also his stance on communism. Right. So even back then, he's already kind of pulling little attempts at getting his perspective in there.
Well, going after the Kennedys in general.
In general, they were not a threat.
No.
At that point.
Well, they were also like they're beloved. They're our Camelot. You know what I mean? So to go after the Kennedys in general, you're like, well, holy shit, dude. I mean, the only ones who did it more, I guess, would be the dead Kennedys. But you know what I mean? It's
a lot more blatant.
Yes, I mean, it's just to say, like, holy crap, dude, like that. And again, that fit with aesthetics of punk.
Yeah. So aside from taking a shot at the Kennedys, Danzig in the Misfits did draw SS bolts on his boots at one point. Not entirely, believe me, I'm saying this looking back, knowing that certain people in the punk world wore swastikas, either shirts or armbands, just to piss off their elders. Sid Vicious did this. Susie from Susie and the Banshees did this.
Right.
But for Danzig, I agree. It was an edgelord type of thing, right?
Yeah.
I can definitely see it as that.
Yeah.
I mean, even my beloved Jerry Only, that dim-witted bassist knucklehead, used to have a knife that he would put on his arm. In fact, you could see that knife on the cover of Walk Among Us.
Okay.
And that is an SS knife.
Okay.
So that already kind of, kind of weird to be included in a band. Kind of weird for a person like Danzig to include in a band. But again, because Danzig has long claimed that everything associated with these bands, either visually or creatively, comes from him.
Right.
I have no other alternative than to credit even these things to him. Maybe not the Jerry Only knife thing.
I got Jimmy.
But even Jerry at one point was like, I'm not going to wear that. That's
I know.
So then we move over to Samhain.
Right.
Famously, they have a song called Lords of the Left Hand.
Yes.
Now,
yeah,
wild fucking topic to write about.
Yeah,
I know you and I have spoken about this before.
No, yeah. No, again, these are these things where, there is a way to be controversial without being hurtful. There's a way to be controversial. I get it. You can do a show that says, "What if the Third Reich won?"
Right.
That's fine. Again, I do think you can play a part in a song that isn't what you're necessarily believe or think.
Sure.
It is to say, nonetheless, is the more and more you see the totality of what this guy has done through his career, the more and more I think this is just him. Where you say Jerry at one point goes, I'm done with that knife shit. That's stupid.
Yeah. So I don't think
Glenn's ever done that.
I don't think Glenn
he just
ever
didn't
did
grow
that.
up. He wants to be edgelord all the time, and what he sees is pushing an envelope and pushing against, whether it's PMRC, whether it's woke, whether it's
I just think it's whatever's
politically correct.
accepted.
But yeah,
right?
whatever political correctness is to him, I'm pushing against it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like but never taking the time to really look into these things or to be an adult about it. Quite frankly,
that's what it is. Because I mean, going back to the Samhain thing,
please.
Song starts literally left hand power of the Fuhrer.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, you can't dismiss the lyrics, and I used to for the longest time. I used to say that song was about Indiana Jones.
Oh, okay.
For the longest time, I was like, that song's about fucking Indiana Jones because he fights Nazis.
I got you.
See,
for the longest time, I wouldn't have been able to even decipher most of those lyrics.
Okay.
To know that it was totally about that.
Right.
As I've gone back and the more I've listened to it, I start to pick out certain things.
Yeah.
The one that made me go, oh shit, was when I bought the lyric book.
Oh,
and it's in it.
Yeah.
And you have, it's literally pictures of Hitler, but it's like, he's like a demon or something like that.
Yeah,
but it's got the mustache and he's wearing the uniform. I was like, oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Interesting, to say the least, but all right.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure there are other, I mean, he used to have like a Totenkopf pin on his leather jacket.
Okay.
In Danzig, we talked about this a little bit in Danzig 4, he had the anti Farrakhan song, Louis Farrakhan.
He wrote it around that time, but it didn't come out till the B-sides.
The B-sides,
album.
right.
Yeah.
So the song was called White Devil's Rise,
Right.
which, yikes,
Again, I think that's in the story, according to the story.
Yeah.
And obviously, the author is telling this story.
Uh-huh.
Is the idea that they were seeing Farrakhan, I think it's around the time of the Million Man March, this idea of the power that he had and so on and so forth, and how controversial he was. And it was like, well, what if we reversed it in a controversial song and pushed it da-da-da-da-da-da? Yeah.
Which
It's also why I think somebody said, great song. We're never releasing that. You know what I mean?
I think
That's
whoever
not
made that
going
call,
on.
whoever made that call is like, dude, you get all the fucking credit and glory.
You can have that one because you're not putting it out on this record.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with that. You know.
So I again, I know it's easy to just say especially at that point,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to dismiss it as you're being an edgelord, but also you're an older person and you're taking a very specific stance, especially with being reactionary to the Million Man March or even anything to do with Louis Farrakhan, who at that point was like, that world doesn't intersect with yours whatsoever.
Well,
you're making the choice to to do this. Right?
I doubt there's a lot of again, it's I highly doubt that the Danzig fans have any clue about whatever when it comes to that stuff.
Of course,
they would have. By the way, if you read the lyrics on there without the explanation, I don't know that I would have understood that's what he was railing against. Do you know what I mean?
Even back then, when I heard of just the title, like
Right.
White Devil's Rise, I was like, ooh, what are we doing? Like, what is going on? Because that's, like if I were to put something out that was like, I don't know, let's say anything that would point at something to do with American history and the congregation of white something, there's not a lot of stuff that would be all that positive, right? Like if I were to say like, oh yeah, man, this great group of community-oriented people put on some white hoods and, and went around and they wrote songs,
yes.
and they KK Kumbaya all the way.
Again, especially under the circumstances of which you find out he's writing this about, it doesn't come across very good,
right?
At all.
Exactly,
absolutely. And again, it's one of those things. Again, I just think it's a reactionary idiot who doesn't put much thought into the things he does beyond just want to say fuck you. And it's just like, look, I'm all for saying fuck you, but sometimes you need to put a little more thought into how you're saying. If you have a problem with things that Louis Farrakhan has said or what some of that movement maybe has said, I don't have a problem with that. I think there are some things to talk about, but not in they must be eliminated by the white devil.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's not. Like, come on, bro. And when you look at controversial or you look at things that can be brought up, I mean, we have the examples, white artists, black artists, artists across the board who have been controversial about things that are seen as controversial, but are fighting for the oppressed or doing things to say things about these things, or just bring up a topic that maybe people don't want to talk about, whether it could be something that's not even political necessarily, like suicide or whatever. But yeah, his consistency on these things just over and over again, and I'll even add him to getting knocked out, complaining about the soup, being an asshole backstage, all these things. It's just this constant ego that is just this. It's sad to see, like, again, no one around you going, hey, bro, you need to stop.
Right.
You know? You're too old for this shit anymore.
You are too old for this shit.
You're way too old for it. Like, look, we've talked about this, to hear guilty of being white now, you kind of find it a little, ooh, I don't know, man. But when you look at the context in which it's written, and you even talk to Ian McKay now would not write guilty of being white.
Right.
Because his mindset is different. But when he was 16 and that's how he felt in that moment, that's what he wrote. But as a 30 and 40-year-old man, he's not writing that song in the same way. And yet this guy, it seems like he hasn't grown up at all.
Even Black Flag had a song called White Minority, where they had two people who were not white, Ron Reyes and Des Cadena,
right.
singing this song.
Yeah.
So they're...
Look, the Clash, White Riot.
White Riot.
You know,
yeah.
they talk about the fact that we saw the black people, they were uprising, they were taking to the streets, and they were fighting back for the things they needed to do. And he thought, why aren't we doing the same?
Yeah.
Why aren't we with them? And that's the song, was we need to start a White Riot. Now, I can also understand if you just saw the title, you know, and saw 4 guys yelling White Riot, White Riot, you know, you might be a little like, ooh, but when you understand where that's coming from,
that's the most harmonic riot ever.
But it's solidarity also,
yes,
is what they're saying with there. So so understanding where these songs come from have a lot to do with it too. And when you find out his is a reactionary kind of, well, wouldn't it be funny if? And it's like, well, no.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, unfortunately, in past interviews after even that song came out, famously with Eric Blair, who has a YouTube channel, Blaring Out with Eric Blair. He does talk about like agreeing with Donald Trump's policies to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, dude, you had a whole life where you could have not have said anything about this, right?
Again, also my favorite part of a lot of these things, and I mean that sarcastically, is I really wonder if 18-year-old Danzig met 70-year-old Danzig, if he would kick the shit out of him for liking Donald Trump and saying stuff. You know what I mean? Like, how do you begin in this world that is about rebellion against these things, and then suddenly you become the thing?
The thing, yeah. And
that's so weird to me.
That's how it plays out most of the time.
It really does. And I look, maybe some of it's just look, the day may come where you and I we're gonna think that we're the wokest motherfuckers on the planet, and there's gonna be two 14-year-olds are like, man, you fucking or don't know shit, and we're gonna go, oh wow, we were wrong. It's certainly possible.
But here's the difference. I think you and I, if we're ever confronted with that situation, we'll be like, oh, let me
tell me
step
more.
back.
Yes, absolutely.
You show me.
I have learned as much from my children as I hope they have learned from me. Actually, more. I hope, honestly, because there's a lot of things you probably don't need to learn from me. But it's just to say, obviously, spelling and reading and stuff like that. But it is to say, like, yes, I agree with you. We would be more open to hearing the other side of that story so that we were better informed about it.
Right.
I agree. And I think that's it. It's just like he has isolated himself to a point where it seems like all the people around him, from our perspective, are yes men. They just say whatever you say, and boss, as long as the paycheck comes in, let's rock and roll.
As long as the notoriety comes in.
Exactly. The rest of it, I don't give a shit about, you know? And it's just over and over again with this, oh, I'm going to move to Texas. Motherfucker, you couldn't survive in Texas. The black that you wear all the time alone, you die. Stop it.
Step one day out into the sun and you melt.
LA is everything you need. You know it, dude.
Another thing. Famously in the Pushead interview, which is on YouTube, all 2 hours plus of it, he's talking shit about LA
again,
and he lives here. He's lived here for the past 35 years.
And listen, as long as you've lived here for a good long chunk of time, you have. What I don't want to hear are for people who've never been here, and I don't want to hear from people. LA has many of its problems, but I love LA, as the song says, in many ways. It is to say, again. He is, what's the line? What are you repelling against? What do you got? You know what I mean? It's like that's just him, man.
That's him.
It's just like just tell me it's night. I'll tell you it's fucking day.
Right.
Just to say fuck you because I have to. And it's just like you've achieved so much. I'm not saying you should stop rebelling.
Now,
I'm just saying, like, what more do you look? Henry Rollins has achieved quite a bit. He's still somebody who will still stand for the marginalized. He still speaks up when he needs to. You can be that guy, dude, and still be rebellious. You know?
I will say, whether you agree or disagree with Trump's whatever's, I'm not going to get into that in this show. This is not the show for that.
I got you.
But when you come from an underground culture, that caters to the things that you are now conservative against.
Yes. That blows my mind.
That's such a hypocrisy.
It is.
Right?
The thing you profited from, the thing that has helped make your career, you're now somehow against it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And let's be honest. Some of this stems from, and again, I don't want to get too far off of Danzig, but in general, I think he is just as much of a victim's the wrong word, but he is just as much of he has fallen to it the same way a lot of others, which is simply, I don't understand it, therefore it must be wrong and stupid.
It's brain rot.
Right.
Honestly, it's brain rot.
It is. Instead of taking 2 seconds to try to understand it in some way, shape, or form, I don't get it. It's weird. I don't like it. Moving on. Really? Yeah. Do you know how many people probably saw that when you walked in with all your black clothes and your fucking, your fucking devil lock? Well, you're singing about Vampira. How many people went, what the fuck? That's stupid. That's weird. Let's get out of here.
Exactly.
And it's just like that I think is again, and he's not alone in this. I think this is, it is, I've certainly said it on here before. You and I both know the parents that yelled at their kids about Elvis. Those kids went to Woodstock.
Yep.
Those kids went to Woodstock and then yelled at their kids for watching MTV.
Yep.
And it's just
MTV,
weird
R.I.P.
thing, like, so strange that we can't see where I don't mean this in the way, but I don't want to turn into my parents.
Sure. Yeah.
Look, the kids will be fine.
Yeah.
Just because you don't get it doesn't make it less than. It
Right.
doesn't make it worse.
Right.
And this guy just like lives in this. Again, he's an isolated world. And it's just like, okay, man, you did this to yourself. Anything that he looks back on now and says, this was bad for my career. It's all his doing. You got what you wanted.
Yeah. He became the cartoon of himself.
He did.
Like he didn't have
Because he had to
rely-
portray this tough guy, leather jacket all
Yep.
the time. Meanwhile, like nobody would care if Metallica was buying cat food.
No,
Nobody would care if the we all know.
Metallica literally became a business.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
but it's just to say like there wasn't a persona beyond them playing metal
Right.
that they felt they had to keep up.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Like even black metal guys at this point are like, yeah, whatever. There's me without the makeup. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, you hear how many times has Homeboy from Immortal
Yeah.
just made a video of him just talking
him
shit.
falling down that hill while he's playing
Yeah.
guitar. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Does anyone think anything less of him? No, they love him
Nope.
even more.
Nope.
I mean, again,
Attila wearing fucking basically beachcomber fucking shirt and shorts before his show, and he doesn't give a shit,
No. I think again, if anything destroyed his legacy, it was Danzig.
It
He
was
did it
Danzig.
to himself.
He
They're
did
all
it to himself.
self-inflicted wounds for the most part. And again, if he has no one to blame but himself. And,
no one to blame but himself.
And again, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it, dude.
the last thing that I'll
Please,
get into, and again, because we're told that everything artistically comes from his mind. Danzig closed out a tour earlier
Yes,
last year, and at the LA show,
Yep.
he had a bit of merchandise with a black sun
Yes.
design on it. This is controversial because the actual version of that sun design is one that the Nazis famously used in and during World War II.
Yep.
So whatever you want to say of Glenn Danzig, whether he's this or that, I'm actually not saying that. I agree with the Edgelord thing.
No. I'm like, I will hold off on saying he's a racist or a Nazi because I have not seen evidence that he has been
Right.
detrimental to people of color and so on and so forth.
Right.
What I will say is the edgelord shit. You are, but by the way, though, you are very much edging on some stupid shit that could get you affiliated, as I've always said,
Yeah.
with the Trump thing. And again, I don't want to get political necessarily. It's just
Sure.
to say, whatever you think about Trump, that's fine. I just think this. If I stood in a room and went, yes, I believe that, and I believe that, and then I look to my left, and there's a guy in a white fucking hood, and I look to my right, and there's a guy with a shaved head and fucking red boots on, and they're going, yeah, me too.
Yep.
I take a second to go, holy shit, maybe I need to rethink my thinking.
100%.
So
Yep.
Glenn aligning himself and seeing the people, for the most part, you get people who, at least comments that I've seen.
Yeah.
You get the people who go, that's fucked up, fuck him. You get the people who say, whatever, who cares? You're worried about nothing.
Yep.
But you are getting others who are going, right on, brother.
Yes.
I identify.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hold up. Or I feel seen. Now, he
I
may
feel
not like
seen.
those guys. He may not invite them into the tent.
Right.
But unfortunately, they're showing up to the party,
They're
Glenn.
going to show up either way. Yeah. Yeah.
And when you
that's-
were part of a punk scene, by the way, that had songs like Nazi Punks Fuck Off
Yep.
and did its part to try to scare them away from these events,
Yeah.
and now you've put a dog whistle out there to them, whether you intended that or not. I'm sorry,
it's
dude.
there.
It's
And then-
there.
It's there. And then him being the stubborn.
Yeah, to say nothing
fool,
about it,
To
dude.
say nothing is
Like
is
I'm
wild.
sorry. Again, and we talked about this. If I, as I said, if I were to put out a piece of art that I wanted to help trans people or gay youth, and that person came to me and said, "Hey, man, that's not really our message," I'm not going to go, "Hey, fuck you. What do you not? You don't like charity? No,
Right,
no.
right.
Tell me what I can do to help because I'm here to help.
Yeah.
I'm not here to. What's your message? Tell me what it is.
Yeah.
Because I want to help. So in that way, yes, I agree. We both know he'll never say a word. And that,
We
I
both know
think,
this,
again,
yeah.
because he's going to be stubborn and stupid,
Yep.
as he is with so many things. And it just
As he has
bothers
been, and unfortunately, as he's going to continue to
He
be.
will.
You
And
know?
again, from simply a fan point of view
Yes.
only, I am saddened because it will now be the epitaph, whether he likes it or not.
Yep.
If you're going to, and we are, as we're doing here, we've just been doing this for almost 3 hours now.
Holy shit.
If we're going to tell the story of Glenn Danzig, then this is the story.
Yeah.
And it's not going to end with, and Danzig 4 came out and everything was wonderful.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
We're going to talk about shitty albums. We're going to talk about shitty production. And then we're going to start talking about this
Shitty person.
litany of personality traits that seem pretty shitty, because these are the things that you've exposed us all to.
Yeah.
So it is a shame, but everyone's story should be the full story.
The full story, yeah.
You know, we cannot separate the two in the sense of he did have a great musical career.
Yeah.
He was innovative with these 3 amazing bands.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take away from these other things, or it doesn't excuse in any way
Not at all.
these
Not
other
at
things. It just doesn't. And
Yeah.
and for each of us that are Danzig fans, we have to kind of decide for ourselves how we go forward with these sort of things. It is made somewhat easier because he continues to make shitty records that I do not have to buy them. But you know what I mean? But it is to say, like, I'd be lying the first time, as I did say this, when he got knocked out, it felt like somebody knocked out my hero.
Sure.
And then stupidly, I felt like I had to wear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which it has nothing to do with me.
A lot of us, unfortunately, being the Danzig fans that we are, we were, and all this, we had to like answer for it.
Yes,
Right?
people come to us. Oh, look at your hero, dude.
What do you say about that?
Yeah, and it's like,
I don't know.
I didn't push the guy.
Yeah.
Number one, I wouldn't have pushed the guy.
Yeah.
Number two, if I did, I would have immediately been in a defensive stance,
Yep.
which would have been me running. But either way, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, so in those ways, maybe as it's striking me now, thank you, Danzig. Thank you for growing me up. Thank you for telling me this hero worship shit is stupid.
Yeah.
It's understandable when you're 13, 14, when you're in your high school years and you're trying to identify.
We all did it.
We all did it.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to grow up too, dude. These aren't heroes. It's just a guy who made some great music that you really loved.
Yeah.
Some of those people turn out to be really good people, and embrace them. Hope to God they stay that way.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, they're kind of shitty people.
Kind of shitty people.
And sometimes when you make this kind of music, you're kind of a shitty person.
And
You know?
and this is beyond also
Please.
saying like, you know, everyone's got a bad side to them or whatever.
Yeah, no. This is a personality. This isn't. Oh man, you pissed off Glenn. No. You walked in the room and you breathed.
Yeah,
Okay. This doesn't. And again, let's be 100 too. All of what we're talking about, for the most part, other than our actual live experiences, is secondhand knowledge. But it's enough that there is a case to be made. Like, I wasn't in the room, but I did see the video. I wasn't there for the chocolate cake, but I did hear the story.
Right.
And it coincides with
I
the
saw
soup.
the picture.
Right. It coincides with the soup. It coincides with his attitude on stage, so on and so forth.
You don't need us to detail every like bad instance encountered with Glenn Danzig, because for one, the people that encountered those, they put their stories out there.
Absolutely.
Like the people themselves.
And when you get a reputation, you get a reputation for a reason.
Yeah, and the only reason we know about them is because, again, being in the orbit of what a fan is, especially for a person's music, like we have been with this entire catalog
100.
here. You know, we're going to become aware of them because either we like hearing the stories. I mean, at some point we didn't. We don't want to hear about him being knocked out, right?
No, absolutely not.
But it's a reality.
Yeah.
And the other reality is that he also did these other horrible things.
Yes.
Whether to ex-bandmates or just artistically and creatively in his artwork and whatnot, you know, and it's not a time where you can just hide behind the persona.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like we're not in that time anymore.
No. Yeah, that's an excellent point. It used to be the mystery's gone.
Yeah. The mystery is gone.
We've seen the bricks on your driveway. We've seen you with the cat litter.
Yeah.
You know?
We've seen your torn ass pants.
Right.
The fact that you wear big ass boots to make yourself seem taller. We've seen the bald spot.
Yes.
You know, I mean.
And again, take it in its totality. You know,
Yeah.
You know, some don't embrace it. Others do. You know, they embrace the idea of growth. And he, you know, and I do think a lot of it, I think of it in sports terms too. It's like tough to tell an owner that you're wrong when he points at 3 Super Bowl trophies and says, "What do you mean I'm wrong?"
Exactly.
And it's like, well, did you check the dates on those 3 Super Bowls?
Right.
You know, so again, you know, I think he, along with many other people, have shown me in life, relationships are complicated in a lot of ways, but especially with people that enter our lives through art that aren't really people we know.
Yeah.
You know, they aren't. And artists are going to make some stuff that may appeal to you and you may like, but they themselves may not be a great person.
Yeah.
You know, and that is something that we all have to deal with on our own. We have to how we decide those things. You know, I think we all have a line that will not be crossed in many ways.
Yeah.
I think certainly for most part of all of our friends, that line is usually always the same thing. You know, but again, it just it is sad that we can't end this on a happier note, but unfortunately, we are telling the story of Glenn Danzig, and this is the story of Glenn Danzig.
This is the story.
As we know it up until this point.
Yeah.
When the man passes, I will be sad because I try to, for the most part, focus on all the great things that he has brought in my life, including you, David, others like that, Pete, so on and so forth. This connection that we immediately have through his art and through his music, and I appreciate that for him. But I won't mourn in the same way I did for a lot of others that continue to bring happiness into my life, and more importantly, turned out to be good people too.
Same. I will forever hold dear the memories of going to Irvine Meadows.
Yes.
Seeing that show with my buddy Martin at the time, and just thinking like, it's never going to get better.
Yeah. Right.
And then in 1999, Samhain reunited.
Yes.
And it got better.
Oh.
And then just recently, even though I physically could not see it due to my blindness,
but the experience
of standing next to not just my best friend here, Aaron, but my wife, Amy, and singing Misfits songs with Glenn Danzig.
And with 1,000 other people, all of us knowing every word.
Backed by Jerry Only, Doyle,
and
the best drummer in the biz, right?
Man.
That was like...
Thank you. Thank you for those. You know?
13-year-old Nick could have never imagined this.
My God.
The fact that I got to this age and experienced these things, I'll forever hold dear.
Yes.
But
there's there's the apostrophe.
There's the
absolutely.
Apostrophe, right.
Absolutely. And I think, you hope we can all live a life we don't get an apostrophe at the end of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So with that.
Yes.
We've chatted your ear off about Glenn Danzig for quite some time.
Yes.
If you've made it this far, we appreciate it.
We really do.
We really do. You'll know that Aaron and I take our fandom very seriously.
Very much so.
We won't make any judgments here.
No.
You know, all that's left up to you, the listener. But yeah, you can check out his music anywhere. Yeah. Theories are abound as to how some of those bootlegs came about. But yeah, today's subject was Glenn Allen Anzalone, otherwise known as Glenn Danzig, the singer of the Misfits, Samhain, and Danzig. All that being said, what have you been watching?
Actually, quite a bit. We are reconvening, obviously, after the holidays. So I got some, and I have been on vacation from work for longer than I probably should have, because I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to find my way back. But watched quite a bit. Some really good stuff. I kind of caught up on some 2025 shit that I really wanted to get in. Not as much as I wanted to, but I did. First one was a movie called Sovereign. I don't know if you've heard this. I mean, it's based on a true story. I don't have to explain to you, but for maybe some of our listeners, sovereign citizens is what this is about. So sovereign citizens believe that, they can be sometimes tied to racist groups. They are usually not usually, they are absolutely anti-government. They do not believe the Constitution they have to be held to. They do not believe in things like driver's license. I think what they don't believe in is ever being held accountable for anything they do, so they find ways around it, and they try to flood our courts. If you ever get the chance, A&E will do these you can find them on YouTube, where they'll splice together. It's actually pretty fucking hilarious, because now judges have kind of, I get what these guys do, and they know their game, and they beat them at it, where they do stuff like, you don't understand, by colonial law, I'm not allowed to, you're a judge, you're a magistrate, and you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? By the way, it's a $50 parking ticket they're trying to get out of. It's insane. But this is based on the true story of a man with his son that ended up killing 2 cops. Nick Offerman is in it. I love Nick Offerman. Yeah, I think what I love about him the most is if you know his politics and what he believes in, I love that he plays so many characters that are not who he is. Unfortunately, people think he's that.
Yeah. Yep.
And he has that air. He's kind of a man's man, but he is super very liberal. He's come out many times for trans rights, gay rights, so on and stuff. And it seems to piss people off who thought he was a character on TV because they're weirdos that don't understand what acting is, apparently. Dennis Quaid plays the police chief in it. Does a really good job in it. It's really good. Very short movie, very indie, you know. One of the vibes I got off it was kind of an American History X, which is to say, we're not apologizing or condoning their views, but we want to show you how these things can start to infest these people's minds, why people turn this way, and how these things can get, quite frankly, out of hand.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a really good job showing, again, not to feel sorry for them or to go, oh, it's not fair. But you go, I can see why these things could trigger this kind of mindset. And then you go down this rabbit hole and you can't find your way out anymore, you know, and the infection of doing it to his son, which is the saddest part because, you know, he was 16 years old. I think at that point, I know legally you're not, but 16, you're making decisions for yourself. Let's be honest. When he decided to shoot those two cops.
Yeah.
You took your life into your own hands at that point. I mean,
also there's a big thing probably with like the son trying to impress the father.
Well, in this case, we'll never know. They're both dead, so we'll never know exactly. In this case, what they present in the movie, and it's from what I read, was pretty close to what he had seen his father arrested before and got beat up by the cops. Yeah, he saw this happening again, and he freaked out. Yeah. Now, part of this is, as they show, is because his father never offers him life. Kids, and I'm not saying this as the expert on children. Yeah. But anybody knows this. Kids need stability. They need to understand that the walls around them in a house and the roof over their head will always be there, that food will be on that plate. When they don't have those things, they are scared all the time because they think these things will be taken away and they don't have stability. Yeah. His dad offers him all that constantly. He never knows when we're going to leave the house. He doesn't know when the house is going to get taken back. Where's my next meal going to come from? Where's our money going to come from? On and on and on. And I think that when he sees his father getting arrested again and what happened to him the first time, he fears it. And because violence is part of his life, they don't present that at first, but they start to show you, oh yeah, daddy can have a temper, you know. And I think they just do a really good job of showing that, again, never apologizing for what they did or what their beliefs were in any way, shape, or form, but also showing, do you see how people can get sucked down this rabbit hole, and more importantly, how it corrupted this child. Yeah. And that's really sad to see. But it's a really good movie. About an hour and a half, you're in, you're out, but really, really, really well done. I did finish a couple shows that I was interested in. The It Show. Welcome to Derry. I thought it was good. It's definitely a precursor. One of the girls ends up being the mother of one of the boys that's in the It movie. So you find that out because Pennywise tells her that, you know, someday your son will try to kill me. And she's just like, what? And he's like, you learn that, you know, he sees time. It's not linear for him, you know. Right. So I have to kill you so that your son doesn't kill me at this other time. They bring more of the Native American lore into it, which I thought was awesome. Interestingly enough, the lady who's kind of the leader is the woman who plays the Native American in the famous Seinfeld episode of the Indian cigar, the one where he keeps buying the tickets, and he's like, you know, I'm going to need those tickets back. You can't do that. That's being a what, Jerry? And you know. So they also they deal with racial tensions as far as black and white in this town. I thought it was really good.
I did watch most of that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I enjoyed it for what it was. I think I'm hoping it's one season and done because it kind of leads into the movies, so we don't need to do another season. I thought it was okay. Like I said, there were, it's like anything. Look, they made a bunch of money off these things. They're going to try to see what they can do with it. You know what I mean? I didn't need it in my life, but it was there. I checked it out. I enjoyed it for what it was. The other one that I had to finish was Stranger Things. So we got our premieres on Christmas, and then we got the other one on New Year's. It is what it is. I enjoy it for what it is. It's not my favorite, but it was also one of these things. Well, fuck it, I've made it this far. I might as well complete it. Needless to say, I did have to watch a recap because I was like, I don't remember any of the shit that happened in this fucking thing. I did think they treated the ending pretty good. Spoiler alert. I mean, technically she's dead, which I think needed to happen. You know what I mean? Like, the whole idea was like, if we're still alive, even if we kill the bad guy, they're still going to come after us because getting our blood creates another bad guy. So we have to die, which, for something that is for the most part intended for children to kill off kind of the main character and the one that we're all supposed to love. Good. I'm glad you did that because you should have done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The last two were movies that 2005 that I really wanted to see. One was Caught Stealing. It's the kid that was in the Elvis movie and also in Dune 2.
Oh, Austin Butler.
Austin Butler.
Yeah,
Thank you. More importantly, directed by Aronofsky. So that's that's what kind of led me to it. So the story is that his friend, his next door neighbor, a punk guy. He's that British dude. He was Doctor the what's that English show that
Doctor Who?
He was one of the Doctor Who's. He's in the new Game of Thrones and stuff like that. Great actor. You've seen him and stuff. I can't think of his name now. Great actor. He was really good at.
Yeah.
He asked him to watch his cat, and he's like, fine. He's like a bartender in New York, watching his cat, and all of a sudden one day he goes across to get the food out of his thing, and these two Russian guys show up. And he finds out there's something else going on. They really want to know where his neighbor is, and they want something, and they beat him up really, really bad.
Yeah.
Essentially, the story is this idea that this guy kind of, he gets involved in things that is way over his head. You know what I mean? But then there's these other stories where he's like a baseball player that could have gone pro, but he got in a car accident that killed his friend. Jeez. And it felt like, and I like Aronofsky for the most part. Mother is one of my favorite movies. There's a lot of stuff he's done that I really like. Black Swan is fantastic. It felt like there's a real good movie in this, but it just, you'd have to chip away at some other stuff that just is like, this is taking too long to get to where we all know we're going to get to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of a bummer because I was kind of looking forward to it. The last one that I was looking forward to, and I did not feel it disappointed, was One Battle After Another. Paul Thomas Anderson, big fan, love Paul Thomas Anderson.
PTA.
I think he makes fantastic movies, some of the best in the last probably 20 to 30 years, really good. Another one I will say, it's kind of the opposite of the Caught Stealing. I had seen both of those previews 1,000 times. And, one thing you hear a lot of people say is like, these fucking previews, they give everything away in the previews. Like, I already know what the fucking movie is. Well, to the credit of both of them, no, they didn't. Because with Caught Stealing, I thought it was going to be a lot better. It turned out that preview gave me something that it really, I thought it'd be a little more funny, a little more dark comedy. No, not at all. And then with One Battle After Another, I thought this would be more funny, and it wasn't. But that's okay. It actually was better that it wasn't that funny. There are funny parts in it. It's very dark, but it felt like you were going to get kind of DiCaprio just being a bumbling moron who doesn't know what he's doing, which you do get, but there's so many other things that are taking place in it. Really enjoyed it. I really thought it was good. I think there are people who think it's making commentary. To some degree, I think it is, but in other ways, I think it's just really a story about what would a man do to save his daughter, ultimately. You know what I mean?
I think that's the overall... the most accessible theme
for
is
sure.
That.
Yeah,
I do think because we just saw that.
Oh, cool!
That was
awesome.
One of ours. That was one of mine.
Okay.
I do think there is definitely commentary. Unlike what's the other one? The one.
Eddington.
Eddington. Unlike Eddington.
Yes.
That was a way of framing that moment in time that I didn't want to go back to.
I hear you.
Because it was just so lifelike almost. Eddington, I mean. One Battle After Another, it did it in a way that like it kind of brought like 70s protest culture into modern times, right?
Well, and it is, and I did read, taken from a book that is about the weather something or other. They were not the Weather Report. That's the
Weathermen.
No, weather something. It's like three words.
Oh.
The Weather something or other. They were a protest group in the late 60s.
Yeah.
They ended up blowing up like a post office building, not one you'd literally get letters, but it was like an office building. Yeah. And many of them had to flee to Canada. In fact, the title is taken from a pamphlet of theirs. We will continue to fight one battle after another.
Yeah.
So he's taking essentially late 60s, early 70s politics, and you're absolutely right, and bringing them into today's. That's why you see them going after the people that were being illegally detained.
Yeah,
and by that
and that's and that
I think that, but I also think like I think what's interesting is where he also shows them robbing a bank, which I don't care who you are. I don't think we all I hate banks, but robbing them and shooting a guard is not going to change the world necessarily. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that I think he's the thing I took from it was very interesting to see, if you will. You get to see 3 underground things happening all at the same time, right? Their way of doing it violently with guns and robbing banks. You got to see it with this essentially a white supremacist group that runs the country, right? That Sean Penn wants to be a part of. And then the third is Benicio del Toro's character, who is this person that is trying to help immigrants in this country so that they can have a better life. And they're all working underground, despite the fact that up front, he's just a guy who owns a dojo. Yeah. You wouldn't know that he's got this whole, and also the juxtaposition that I loved was seeing Benicio del Toro being cool, calm, and collective, knowing what to do at all times, while his partner over here is a fucking moron who can't figure anything out.
Falls out of a tree.
Oh, man, just like when he's so calmly walking the halls, telling the lady, do this and you do that. Well, what's DiCaprio's behind him losing his goddamn mind because he can't remember one fucking word to tell the guy over the phone.
Yeah.
I love seeing and then just how over the top that the political white supremacist group was. The Christmas
adventures. Yeah, I mean, see, that's why I think the father-daughter story is the accessible story.
Sure, no, yeah.
But then you have almost the conspiratorial.
For sure,
Christmas adventurers,
for
right?
sure.
Where it's like everybody knows or everybody suspects this cabal of riches running the country, and then here they are giving faces and names and everything.
And making fun of them at the same time.
And making fun of them. Exactly.
Hail Santa.
Hail Santa, yeah. Merry Christmas, Hail Santa.
Like the first time you hear that, you go, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, wait, they said Santa, right?
Yeah, that was Santa. Like, what the fuck?
And then you have, basically, I almost hate putting it this way, but 2 sides of the same coin where it's the black protest groups and all that.
Yeah.
But with the struggle of the Latino immigrants,
yes.
Where they're basically fighting for their rights, their freedoms,
for sure,
in very different ways.
Absolutely.
And one of them is doing more of the aggressive fighting, whereas the other one is being, transgressed on, right?
But also more, quite frankly, he is far more organized, and he is far more, what do I want to say? Like, he's a community leader. Like, you see it. It's not just that he leads. They respect him. They respect him. They know, like, this is the guy who will take care of us. This guy has a plan. Don't worry. Stick with him.
Because he even says, he's like, we've been here for hundreds of years.
There it is. Right. Yeah. I love that stuff where they are, like, you see it. Like, the moment she gets caught, she flips.
Yeah.
Like, there's no, even their little thing. It's like, you can tell, like, he is in way above his head.
Oh, yeah.
He knows how to do the explosive. He can do those things. But he's in way above his head. He fell in love with a woman, and that's why he's doing it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even the highly trained military guy, in the end, he's just so obsessed with getting to this thing that he's willing to do all these other things. Yep. You know what I mean?
You commit mistakes because you're so objective driven.
Dude, great point. Yes. Right. And again, overall, I really liked it. I was very entertained by it. I thought it was really good. Yeah. I don't know that it would have been I still like Sinners and Weapons and even Superman more, but it's also one of those ones, like a lot of PTA. I bet you I watched it a couple more times and it will soon become one of my favorites.
I gotta say, we liked it a lot.
I really enjoyed it.
We actually just finished it like the other day.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, Tara and I watched it. Like I said, I did. I very much liked it. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's one of those ones too. I love kind of sitting back and I'll think about it some more. You know what I mean? Yeah. And lastly, the thing I'll say about it, and I don't want to get too deep in it, the other thing that made me like it even more is apparently Ben Shapiro fucking hates it. So that is, which again, I don't want to get into that. That's a side story for you and I.
The main reason to go watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I just to piss him off is enough for me. But that's what I've been watching. Other than the usuals, but other than that, but how about yourself?
Cool. Well, I just mentioned One Battle After Another, which we just recently watched. Also saw Begonia.
Oh, okay.
I gotta say that movie is fucking great.
Really? Okay.
Good. Because
good to know.
It is.
This is Jesse Plemons. This is what's her name?
Before we get into that,
please.
I've been calling him fucking Jesse Clemens this whole time, and
that's okay. My wife still calls him whatever his name is from Breaking Bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's all she ever calls him. So.
Well, that's all he is.
Yeah.
No, but Jesse Plemons, Emma Stone.
That's who I was. Yes.
Other guy.
And this is the director that she did the one where there's like the Frankenstein movie and then the other. Okay.
Yeah, this movie is fucking great.
Good.
It's not that long. She plays a great fucking character.
Right
I
on.
will not give it away.
No, it looks really good.
Stavros Hockey.
I heard, yes.
His character is like, what did this guy do?
Okay.
Like, oh man, it's so good.
My favorite was I saw them being interviewed on a panel, and the guy went, "Okay, let's start with the first question, Stavros." And he goes, "Hey, I don't mean to interrupt you. I've never done one of these before, but when you have a panel like this coming to me, I would say you fucked up.
Yeah.
You should come to me first."
Yeah, dude, it's so good. It
Right
is
on.
Very
That's good to hear.
entertaining.
Good to hear.
I think it's a kind of a quick watch.
Okay,
Also, it doesn't
good.
seem like it was too long.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Begonia was really
Good.
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 Really, really.
Is that on anything, or did you guys rent it?
We rented.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it on anything yet, so I'm open to. I'm hearing good things.
We restarted Chair Company because we were showing it to my brother-in-law.
Right on. Really? He hadn't seen it.
Yeah, well, because I mean,
I felt like if it's the brother I'm thinking of, I would have figured it'd be right.
Yeah, Tim,
I think it's right up his alley.
Yeah, I thought so too, and he loved it. And
Right on.
we stopped maybe halfways while we were watching it.
Right
so
on.
we just we're gonna end up here.
Hey.
We also watched a show on Apple called Pluribus.
I hear nothing but great things about this. Is Vince Gilligan again?
Vince Gilligan. This time he cannot do any wrong. on this
Wow, that's dude to go 3 for 3, man.
It is fucking great, dude. It is so good.
I hear good things, but it's again, I don't
almost-
have Apple, so
I almost didn't want to like it
I got you.
as much as I did.
Okay,
honestly,
I've heard nothing but good
it
things
is
about
so fucking good.
That's
dude.
good to know.
Again, I'm not gonna give it
this.
anything
No,
away.
please.
Pluribus
Yeah,
is
I
a
have no
great
idea.
watch.
I see the people in it. I see the people who are involved,
Yeah.
and I see nothing but praise for it, and it does make me go, oh, god damn.
Yeah, Pluribus.
Maybe I got to
fucking
create
great.
an email so I can get that
Dude, just
30
get
days free.
the trial. Yeah, fuck it.
I mean, what? No, I would never do that, Apple.
Yeah, I mean, full service sign up. Yeah. Last one that we watched, are currently watching is second season of Fallout started.
Oh, okay.
I love the fucking game.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah.
Um,
I didn't see the first one, so I haven't.
first season is by far the best interpretation of a video game onto a TV series.
Right on.
I think.
I heard that's another one I've heard nothing but good things about.
Yeah, the second season, the storyline is getting a little bit confusing,
Okay.
but they have a lot to play with.
Right on.
Because right now they're barely in a place that can render a lot of really good results.
Okay.
Storyline
All right.
wise. Yeah.
I love Walter Goggins too.
Walter Goggins is in it. Fucking Kyle MacLachlan is in it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Other people in it. I don't know.
that. I got you. No,
I don't know what these people look like.
I've
so I
heard
don't
good
know.
things. I think my son watched the first season because he's a big Fallout fan.
Yeah,
He loves
Fallout's great.
that video game. So
Fallout
good.
is great. Yeah. What have you been listening to?
Quite a bit, actually. Again, because of with the holidays and everything else. During I did a quick Amoeba trip, so I bought quite a few things there. So I've been listening to a lot of that. The ones that didn't appear on my year-end list, so I won't bother you with that. But Sharon Jones, I finally finished her collection, so I have Soul of a Woman. I was listening to that. I finished the whole Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. I absolutely love her. Just, it's essentially it's like old school R&B soul music, but done in a modern way. The Dap Kings, for those who may not know, are the house band, essentially for I think it's Dap House Records, which were made famous to a degree by they are the backup band for Amy Winehouse on her second album. Obviously, with her passing, they no longer had a gig, so they found this woman, Sharon Jones, who had been slugging it out for many, many years.
Yeah.
Later in life, got very popular. Unfortunately, she's passed. Fuck you, cancer. But she has left us with some amazing records. If you want to hear stuff that is just great R&B soul with, I wouldn't say a modern touch because it does feel like a throwback, but without sounding like someone's trying to do a throwback. I would recommend her albums. They're fucking amazing. I absolutely love them. Another one that I got, Guru's, he did, I think, three solo albums, what he called jazzmatazz. So the idea was with the first two was getting live jazz musicians to play while he rapped over it.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then the third one, which is the one I got, it was called Soul Street or Street Soul. This is where he got soul singers to essentially sing the chorus over his raps. So it's Erykah Badu, and it's goddamn. Now, of course, I'm spacing on about 5 of them. Macy Gray and a bunch of people, like, especially at that time, they were all like really big names. Now, other than Erykah Badu, now that some of them you probably many people haven't heard of necessarily. But I love Guru and I love those projects. So I was lucky to find that thing, quite frankly. Another one that I very much love, this band called bear with me here, Orchestra
Orchestra.
Okay. Akokan? Akokan? Akokan, I think is,
Akokan.
I looked it up. Akokan. And the album is called Casacoles. So they are essentially, well, not essentially, they're a Cuban jazz band, like Latin jazz. I fucking love them. I found them because they are on the Dap King Records label, and they put out their records.
Cool.
And I bought their first one. I absolutely loved it, and I found this third one at the at Amoeba, so I was very excited. Beyond that, I listened to Interpol's first two. I was stuck on those for a while. I fucking love their first two albums, especially.
Yeah.
I just think they are just. Talk about a band, by the way, that did not have a sophomore slump. Actually, exceeded their first album. I mean,
Definitely.
god damn.
Yeah.
It rained a lot over the past few weeks since we did our last one, and to me, when it rains, my favorite type of rainy music is grouper. I love grouper when it rains. So I had her on. I essentially just pushed play from her first album all the way down that was in my iTunes, and I just let them all play.
Yeah.
I love when I hear that. Another one that I listened to, I found recently, Jay Royal is his name. He's a rapper. The Baltimore Housing Projects. Fucking just good, dark, grimy boom bap. I really, really like it. It was on some list of like, if you like I think it was like, if you like, now I can't think of their name. Oh shit. Anyway, that kind of grimy boom bap stuff. Here's like 50 albums you probably never heard, and most of them I hadn't, but some of them just reading the descriptions like, it's not really my thing. And some of the rappers I'm like, I've tried him, I don't like him. I'd never heard of this guy. This totally hit. I immediately bought it. I was so excited to hear it. Another one of my favorite black metal bands, Pa Veshen. The album Pyrification happened to be the one I listened to. This is my style of black metal. This is like, it sounds like it's recorded in a cave on a Casio, and it's just dirty, ugly. I love that stuff. He's from Belarus. I have all of his albums. I really, really like this guy. He does my kind of black metal. Skagos, black metal band. They put out an album called, it's probably not pronounced this way because it does have like a line over the A, but Ast is what it's called. Classic Canadian, Cascadian style kind of black metal.
Okay.
Great album. But their second album is the one I listened to because I hadn't heard it in a long time, called Anarchic. They took some liberties on this that I thought were pretty daring in some of the vocal styles and some of the music that they went with. Like, what I loved about it the most was they could have made their first album 3 more times and everybody would have been excited about it. But they literally just decided, we're going to take some of what we did there and we're going to do something totally different. We did 2 songs. Each of them are 20 minutes.
Shit.
And they expand and go into these interesting places. I hadn't heard that album in so long, and I forgot how much I really, really enjoyed that thing. I thought it was very daring of them and good for them. I'm glad they did something very different. I appreciate that. And let's see, looking over my list just to be sure. Yeah, my very last one, as my exploration of death metal continues, Perdition Temple.
Oh yeah.
Malign Apotheosis. Essentially, one of the guys from, and it's Angel Corpse Worship, and it's fucking awesome.
Nice.
This one, I believe, came out either this year or last year. They have like 3 albums. It's fucking insane. It's so good. I would recommend anybody, if you like the Angel Corpse sound, go fucking listen to it. It is
Temple's good.
Dude, fucking great band. I'm so glad I found them. But yeah, other than that, a lot. I spent a lot of time with the list that I put out for the year end, just kind of delving deeper into those records. But I think this year I'm gonna try to. I'm never gonna stop looking for new music, but I'm gonna try to make an effort to go back at some older stuff that I haven't listened to in a long time, and try to. I just feel like I'm depriving them a little bit. You know what I mean? I keep, I'm that meme where it's like 600 CDs holding my hand, and I look back at one new one, going, ooh, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like, hey man, all this is good too, bro.
Yeah.
So how about yourself? What you been listening to?
I don't know the names of the releases.
Okay.
So
No.
people have to kind of bear with me. Up first is a black metal band that I have no idea where they're from, but they're called Chobu.
Okay.
It is ugly sounding.
Okay.
It's really good production,
Right
but
on.
it's just ugly sounding.
Okay.
And it doesn't sound like, it sounds like slower paced black metal, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
But I have no idea what they talk about. I'm not going to attempt the release name because it's in another language.
I gotcha.
But Chobu, and I might even be pronouncing that wrong.
All right.
But that's the first one. Blood Aus Nord put
Wow.
out a new album at the end of last year.
Oh, okay.
That I'm kind of catching up with now.
And this is you've mentioned them before, right? Because this is a band you've kind of been getting into a little bit more lately, right?
Yeah, I had been into them before.
Okay.
I revisited them and I was like, oh, I really do like this
Okay.
band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They are French,
Right.
well, with a weird like Scandinavian sounding name, Blood Aus Nord,
Mhm.
Blood of the North or whatever.
Avant-garde style.
Avant-garde,
okay.
yeah, very, very experimental
Yeah.
with their sound.
Yes.
Fucking great, just very intense sounding
Mhm.
stuff. The new album is no different. It's really good. I've gone back and forth with a lot of their stuff before. It's really good shit.
Yeah, a lot of people I know whose tastes I respect, you being obviously one of them, I know really like this band, and they seem to be, if nothing else, very consistent. Like
Consistent,
people
yes.
who like them, like I rarely hear them
Yeah.
say like, "Oh, it's only these 2 albums." Like they're like people find them to be very good and consistent in everything they do.
Yeah,
Right on.
That last album, and I forget the name of the album that they put out too. Ulver put out.
Oh
and,
yes, that
yeah.
was the other thing. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Or Neverland.
Neverland. That's it. Yes.
Dude, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
it's my favorite kind of their post black metal style.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of Blood Inside, Perdition City. I
Yep,
love that
yep.
stuff. I'm not big when they do like the Caesar one and the last
Oh,
one they
I
did,
am. Yeah.
the Luminal Animals and stuff
Yeah.
like that. When those don't do anything, but when they get into their weird like electronic and ambient stuff,
Yeah.
oh. I was so excited for this record, and
Yeah,
I made the joke online of like, a lot of you put your top 10 out. You're gonna, I myself included. I was like, oh fuck, I should have waited.
This was really good,
Dude, it's
Yeah.
so good, man. I mean, Oliver. I mean, what more can you say
Fucking
about
one
them?
of the best.
They
You know,
really
one of
are,
the
and
best.
it's so good. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah,
Yes,
no,
I
yeah.
very much love that record.
Um,
I mean, at one listen, I ordered it. I'm like, okay, gotta get it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. One that I think you might be aware of.
Mhm.
A Mammifer.
The name certainly, yes.
So this is I forget it. Faith is her name.
Okay.
Up from the kind of Pacific Northwest.
Uh-huh.
Aaron Turner, I think, liked her music so much he went and like married her.
Because he's part of this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
he-
Yeah.
But she did also primarily kind of very ethereal sounding musical pieces with her
Okay.
singing over it.
Okay.
It's very beautiful sounding, very
Okay.
sad sounding as well. But it's awesome. Mammifer, they have maybe 4 or 5 albums on Bandcamp that I found. Fucking great.
Right
Great
on.
fucking shit. And then the last one that I kind of want to mention here is
Mhm.
Mount Erie.
Oh yeah. No, great band.
So I only found out about them or him.
Yeah, technically, you're right. Yeah.
Just recently, and I was looking up, music for sad people. and
Oh,
all that shit.
I know. I think I know what album you're talking about.
So A Crow Looked at Me is the album.
Okay.
Based on the passing of his wife.
Yes. Yes.
She had speaking of cancer,
Yes.
she just passed away of cancer.
Yes.
They had not even a 1-year-old
Uh-huh.
at home,
Yes.
and she dies. And this is his kind of reaction to her passing away.
Yeah.
What I liked is that he said something. He didn't want to learn anything from his grief.
Mm.
He just wanted to grieve.
Mm.
And Wow. There's a song on it called Toothbrush, about him throwing away her toothbrush.
I haven't heard this in a long time, but yes, because
Oh my God.
it's not new, but
it's
yeah,
not. It's
no,
from like
it's-
2016.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I think I may have read the same article or seen something where it's like saddest albums or something like that.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
knew of Mount Erie. I had heard a couple of their
Like the
albums.
other
and
one
liked
is
them.
Sufjan Stevens, which I'm
Okay.
not gonna fucking listen to.
Yeah, I can't even pronounce. I didn't. That's the first time I know how that's pronounced. Let alone have I ever looked into his music. So yeah, no, and it was one of those ones where I did the same. And yes, that's the record I found, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
Yeah, it is fucking sad as hell,
Oh,
dude.
I
It is
mean,
goddamn sad.
The subject matter alone, I don't even have to hear it.
Dude,
I'm already
he
in.
records the album in the room she died,
Right.
with her instruments,
Yes,
apparently, which
yes.
is already fucking heartbreaking.
Yes.
But then you get this beautiful album,
Mhm.
A Crow Looked at Me. I guess the last song is called The Crow, which is supposed to be the one about him
Mhm.
kind of moving on because he realizes like, oh, we have a kid that I now have to
Yeah.
care about.
Yeah.
In this incredibly
Oh.
fascist world, and here it is, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a beautiful collection of music.
Yeah.
I cannot recommend that one.
Yeah.
Mount Erie is
Yeah,
is
well, I would recommend that, as I'm sure you do. I would recommend that artist in general.
in general.
He's got
yes.
some really great albums, but
Yeah.
that one, yeah, if you're
Yeah.
if you're looking for a good cry,
A good cry, that one. And somehow it led me to the last one that I will actually
Please.
talk. A group from also the Pacific Northwest called Disembballerina.
okay,
Chamber music, a lot of stringed instruments.
okay,
Really dramatic sounding. They
Mhm.
had, I think their last album might have been 2014. The album's called Undertaker.
oh, okay,
If you're ever in the mood for really, again, I don't want to overuse ambient,
no, but
but it's
it's like soundscapes.
it's sound, yeah, it's dark ambient,
Okay.
dark chamber music.
Do they have a
um,
song called Tombstone?
Maybe they do. I don't
I
know.
hope so.
But yeah, Disembballerina.
Right on.
They fucking beautiful work. Absolutely beautiful work.
Okay,
Yeah, so check that out whenever
I've never.
you get a
Yeah,
chance.
that's a new one. I've never heard that.
Yeah, but that's what we've been checking out so far at the start of this year, 2026. Folks, thank you for joining us
Yes,
and
thank
for
you.
sticking around to the end of this incredibly long first episode of the year.
And here I thought we'd have nothing to talk about.
I know, right? We were going to make stuff up. Thank you for joining us, guys. We'll join you next time and catch you around.
Right on.
Howdy, folks. Thank you so much for spending time with us here at the Rehearsal Room. If you've got any recommendations you'd like for us to check out, whether it's a band, a movie, or anything else you think we'd be interested in, you can write to us at therehearsalroompod@gmail.com, all one word. We're also over on Instagram or Facebook, or even YouTube. You can also find us on any of the popular platforms for podcasts. And if you happen to know anybody that would be interested in any of the subjects we're talking about, please make sure to refer this show over to them. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to us, and we'll catch you soon.